My girlfriend refuses to put me on our child's birth certificate. I won't allow it.
Don't allow it. Don't let it happen.
Now, I know what you're thinking. With a title like that, maybe you're overreacting or maybe you're being petty, but this is my story. I, 21 male, am currently having a child with a 20-year-old female.
Young, but, my grandparents were around that old.
We met about 2 years ago back on a J1 work and travel program. At that time, I was a second-year college student pursuing a bachelor's in secondary education, double majoring in math in Jamaica. By the way, this comes from Training Drawing 713, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I decided to give the J1 program a try after a recent heartbreak from my high school to college sweetheart. I signed up and had gotten a job, hoping for a fresh start. It was there that I later met the mother of my child, Sarah. Sarah stood out to me not because of how dang beautiful and breathtaking she was, but because there was something about her that captivated me. So I did my research and asked around and discovered she was single. Oh God. Then came the most nerve-wracking moment, which was me asking her out, to which she said no.
Maybe you just got to ask again in a respectable amount of time. Give it some space.
It took about 3 attempts of asking before she finally agreed, and we hit it off. We had great moments and also some not so great moments. The issue was both her friends and family weren't my biggest fans as they believed I was only with her for a green card. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, I later asked her to be my girlfriend, and then my time came to return to my country and for her to go to college. We video called on WhatsApp and did pretty well with long distance. I visited her school, and the next summer I returned to her hometown once more for work. She also returned home, and we went on various dates and were a bit more involved in family outings, trying to get in good standings, etc. That's, getting in good with the family. Now, we discussed marriage, and she was comfortable with it, and surprisingly, she wanted to do it then and there. Time came, and once again, I returned to my country, and she went back to school, which brings us to a few months ago. This is where my life became heck on earth. After returning to school, we discussed her coming to Jamaica to celebrate her birthday. Great place to celebrate your birthday. We were both excited. She ran it by her parents and they approved. And so we got the ticket. I picked her up in Kingston. Things were going well. We messed around, got her hair done, and went to various attractions like beaches, falls, etc. Now, all of which she was excited to go to, and we had fun with the family. They were pretty chill. Of course, she couldn't understand our dialect sometimes, but outside of that, it was fun. Her trip lasted a few days, and eventually I had to drop her off at the airport, which was very sad. And a few days later, I got a call saying she did a test, and guess what? She got an A. Just kidding, she's pregnant. She's got a big old baby.
She got a baby.
Bun in the oven.
That's got to be a surprise. Or maybe it's not. Maybe he was ripping it raw.
Mighty God. Did my head hurt. My life flashed before my eyes.
I mean, if he's using it that much, it's probably got to hurt.
Listen, they had a lot of romantic moments. Beaches, waterfalls. Getting pregnant at a waterfall is kind of amazing. That sounds pretty great. Now, I asked her if she was sure, and she did several more tests, and guess what? She was definitely pregnant. Having discovered that, reality finally stuck. We discussed some options, and well, she decided she was going to keep it, and I was like, okay.
So are they gonna, co-parent or whatever?
She's definitely keeping it. My guess is that they will do it together.
Well, the title is any indication. It seems like she doesn't want him on the birth certificate, so I wonder why.
I started to research ways of getting citizenship so I could be there. High-paying jobs, houses, costs for schools, everything. Opie's getting the full life plan together here. The full father plan.
I do think we should do a DNA test.
Oh, yes.
Because as much as he may have been using his head, maybe some other guy was also using his. And they're long distance. And they're 20 and 21.
That is a good call out. She started talking about how we were going to be a family, raise a child together, etc., etc. So I proposed marriage.
All right.
And her response was no.
Dude, I think maybe this is not your kid.
She might not be that into you, my guy.
This is the 4th time she said no to you escalating your relationship.
But if we ask 2 more times, 3rd time is a charm. That's their system, Be with me, yes or no. Marry me, yes or no. And then we'll see what's after that. She claimed that she and her parents believed marriage would only be for the kid and nothing more, and that I was using the opportunity to get the green card, etc.
You have a freaking kid together. You should get a green card. That's crazy.
Remote parenting. Hey, son, catch a ball? No, catch this emoji.
I don't think it's your kid.
Things got even worse when I suggested the kid could visit in winter. or so, to which she remarked that she would have to confirm with her parents or it's not safe for a child under 2 to travel. Things progressed even more, and it felt more like whatever I said or suggested had to be vetted by her and others around her before she would even consider it.
I don't think it's your kid.
I voiced my concerns to her, to which she remarked I was overreacting. To be fair, she brings up things regarding the child and often asks for my opinion, but I feel as though whatever I say has to be vetted once again. A thing that caused an argument was the matter of the child being circumcised. I don't believe in it, but Sarah does. In the end, I feel as though I was immature in how I responded to it, and it caused an argument to which I later apologized. In the end, though, after doing health research, she eventually decided not to do it. Just a super quick, I feel like OP is like, I think he's very thoughtful. I think he's trying to like really think through everything.
He's trying to be like the best father he can be.
He's like fully like, okay, job, moving, like what's all this stuff? He's like trying to figure it out. And I feel like she's just kind of like shutting him down.
Yeah, which is completely unfair seeing that this is his kid.
100%. Things were going well until after talking, I discovered she preferred to have the child not have my last name, but instead have hers. I was against this because to me, that's the greatest honor in having a child of your own. To which she remarked, I should be happy by the fact that I get a child. Weird response.
That is weird. I mean, if anything, you got to do the hyphen.
Her reasoning was that she'd be the one with the kid in the United States, and it would make it easier to pick up the child, and that she'd have the child, so it's only fair. I told her that's nonsense because my name doesn't affect her picking up the child, to which she said she would be the one carrying and birthing the child, etc., etc.
Well, I mean, how does that argument even make sense? For many decades, the tradition has been for men to have the surname. Not saying that actually is like the move, but I'm just saying it has been possible for centuries.
And it's like she's saying like, oh, because I'm guessing like the school pickup list and everything. Like, yeah, you just get it like vetted.
But I guess because they're not married, like she doesn't have his last name or whatever, or vice versa. But I feel like she's cutting off all ability for him to see his kid, if it even is his kid.
So Opie continues, now at this point, I believe the situation could not get any worse, but well, it does. After that argument, which lasted weeks, by the way, things calmed down and we were okay until recently. I was looking at flights and stuff to come for her birth. That was the plan until she proposed my name not be on the birth certificate because it makes it easier for the child to get a passport and travel to see me.
There's no way that's true.
She's just like spitting things out, I feel like. She said she'd researched it and it would be easier if my name wasn't on the birth certificate because I'd have to travel there to sign forms for the passport and it takes a while and that it's expensive. I told her I'm willing to pay it and I'd prefer my name be on the birth certificate, to which she was displeased. We got into another argument and she sent me a message stating that it's not her out to get me, it's just what's best for the child, etc., etc. I didn't respond. Instead, I did research, made a PowerPoint presentation disproving what she said with credible references, etc. Can I just say real quick, something about OP is so lovable. He's like an innocent, sweet cherub. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just want to cuddle up with him.
He's just a sweet boy trying to be a good man.
He is trying to be a good man. Like, I've seen nothing but green flags for this guy. The only red flag is him not being able to see these red flags.
Yes, and the last name thing.
Of him wanting his last name? I don't think that's a red flag. I mean, I think in a lot of countries, that's like socially what happens. I mean, even in America, that's something that's like kind of culturally baked in. So I don't necessarily fault him for that.
So in response to this amazing PowerPoint presentation he put together, she made a Word document stating that it's not personal, that with everything Trump is doing, it would make citizenship easier for the child. We are just doing school group projects back and forth. This is crazy. Bear in mind, she's an American citizen, born and raised. She also mentioned her insurance, that it would be cheaper if my name wasn't on it. That I don't know about.
Maybe like for single mothers, like there's something.
Maybe. I responded with more research disproving what she has said, but then she said it would make things easier in case emergencies happen and she needed consent from the father. I told her I'd sign a consent form that she can have in her phone. Smart idea, but then she said she's not sure she wants to do that as it's extra work for her. And I can just add my name later in life when I figure out my citizenship status. I told her there's no need for that, and that not having my name there is taking away my right as a father. She then said the job of a father is to be there and that I won't be there consistently and she'll have to raise him and it's what's best for him and her.
He literally said he wanted to go out there.
He's like ready to make this happen. I've been looking into getting a stay there as a teacher, but I lack teaching experience as I'm a recent graduate as of last month. Dude's 21, already graduating. Are there parents here, fathers that can offer any advice? What should I do? Anyone experience anything like this? I don't want any bashful comments about her. Just need solid advice. Anybody, there is an update.
DNA test. I mean, but the other hard truth is there isn't really that much you can do, right? I mean, maybe you could sue for some kind of support, but ultimately it seems like she can take you off the birth certificate.
I wonder if with the British ties, if that helps being able to sue for custody and everything.
Yeah, maybe. I think you could potentially sue for custody and ask for a paternity thing. I just think that's kind of lame. I mean, it's you're not allowing this guy to see his potential child.
Why wouldn't she say it's not his child though? Maybe she doesn't know and she's assuming.
She could not know. I think also her family might be saying, hey, he's just trying to anchor baby you so he can get citizenship and he doesn't actually care about you or the baby. He's just trying to get into the country.
Literally better for you. It's a win-win scenario.
Either the parents really pushing hard, which I think we know is true, and then possibly maybe this is not his kid. But I think the thing that he can do is do a DNA test that will prove whether or not it's his kid or not. And then if it is, he should be able to get rights to the child.
But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have, hopefully, the answers to all our questions in this next update. So first off, I'd like to thank everyone who offered advice. It's been a lot and it took me a while to catch up. But yeah, I've got some pretty solid advice. Before I go any further, I'd like to confirm or clear up a few things here. The aim was never to put down or talk to anyone. I genuinely needed help and I wanted to know if anyone had experienced anything similar or maybe get an American perspective to see if I'm overreacting or I don't know something. The trip occurred between October 9 to the 14th. She said she felt weird around the 19th and around the 22nd, she did a test and got a faint positive. So that actually does line up timing wise with a week or whatever. She did several more tests and still got positive results. From those saying honor thing, I get from your perspective, but where I'm from, it's the greatest joy as a guy to have a child carry on your name. It's comparable to winning the lottery and it's normally criticized if the opposite occurs, unless the father is irresponsible or paternity is uncertain, which hopefully we're getting to the certainty of this paternity. I understand from the other perspective that the woman carries a child and that should be afforded to her as well. That's my main issue, is not the last name, but me being on the birth certificate because I'd legally have no right to the child otherwise. I know I should have used a wiener wrapper. It's entirely on me. I fully accept that. Some pretty solid advice was offered. All of the suggestions of a paternity test and legal actions.
Let's go, internets. It starts. Get those gears moving.
And I had fully intended to get a paternity test done at birth to rule out that fear from my mind.
Good. But I mean, if he can't even get to the birth or she's not even allowing him there, it's going to be hard to get that paternity test.
Is it even going to happen? We don't know. To be honest, Sarah has never given me a reason to doubt her in the past. Always been the clingy type, which I have no problem with, who wants to talk on the phone 24/7. I suggested to her to go out sometime and make friends, as I didn't want her college experience to be remembered as just talking to a boy. That said, we were long distance, so I'm not 100% sure absolutely nothing happened. I will be doing the test, but to do it now is pretty expensive, as about thousands of US dollars equates to millions in Jamaican currency. So it's cheaper to get it done at birth. Right. So the pregnancy test during the pregnancy is a lot more expensive. I've had a talk with Sarah explaining how I feel about the situation, and I'm willing to meet her in the middle as long as my name remains on the birth certificate, which I think is totally fair. That's what establishes him as the father. That's the important thing. To which she remarked, it's just a piece of paper and it doesn't affect me being allowed to visit or not. So I asked her how she would feel if the roles were reversed, and she said it would suck, but she's not the father and cannot be in my shoes, only hers, and has to do what's best for her and saves her less work.
She's like, yeah, it would suck, but I'm not going to empathize with all that. I'm just going to do me. I could think about you, but that would make it too hard. How about we both think about me real quick? I would love that.
Let's flip the roles. So Opie says, I don't think I'm going to win here. She says that she'd be willing to give the child my last name, but will not list me on the birth certificate because it's easier. A ground for this is because I'm not a citizen and won't be present full-time for at least 2 years. I fully plan on being there, but like I said, I'm lacking experience. I had planned on getting my citizenship while doing my master's degree.
That's lame. And what she's saying is, I'll give you an honorary last name, but you won't have any rights as a father.
That's meaningless.
It's like, here, let me give you this fake medal for winning the Olympics, but I'm not actually going to tell anyone that you actually won.
And then my plan would be to migrate to be a lecturer to earn enough money to support them both. For those who said, I'm only doing it for the papers, only doing it for the green card, I initially asked Sarah if she would be willing to live in Jamaica, to which she said no because she has all of her family back home.
That is fair. I will say that is fair.
So, Opie says, I decided to leave mine in order to make it work. After explaining everything and basically pouring my heart out, she said she thinks I'm emotionally manipulating her.
Yo, he just wants to see his kid, his maybe kid, his potential possible kid.
This whole thing is stressful, and we have update number 2, which hopefully we will get the big answer. Is this the kid or not? It's possible it's your kid, but we can't know for sure. All right, are we ready to dive in, boys, to find the truth?
Yeah.
So I just told my parents. I think this is the grand reveal.
Oh, we haven't told the parents that we've popped a bun in the oven.
Exactly. I haven't told them since the start of this due to the fact that this entire thing is crazy, and I know they too would find the situation very weird. It wasn't the easiest saying this, hey, I have a kid, but won't have a kid legally. That sucks.
I guess it sucks if you want to be a good dad.
Indeed.
If you don't want to be a good dad, kind of rocks.
Bro, if he was he'd be like, cha-ching, we're good to go.
No responsibility, no problems. He's too good of a guy.
But they pretty much grasped the situation. Their advice was to work with whatever demands the mother makes or whatever works for the mom, as it's primarily the mom that has all the power, even though that is very unfair as it is. That was literally the most heartbreaking thing to hear. I know I could get a lawyer, but with the lawyer fees, I'd be spending millions of Jamaican dollars just to see the child, or more so to be listed on his birth certificate. Crazy, right? I'm taking a commenter's advice who suggested visiting in person and trying to talk things out. Oh, and by the way, yes, I've seen the videos and been on the video calls. She definitely is pregnant. So at least she has a bump on her stomach under clothing.
I don't know about you, John, but in middle school on the basketball courts, I was pregnant loads of times.
So I just can't say 100% that it's mine. And with everything, my certainty keeps dropping. But what will never drop is the amount of episodes we have, because we have over 2,000 episodes on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, your favorite podcast app that you can listen to by just searching OK Storytime on your favorite app. Go listen. But we are at the precipice of the climax, the finale of this story. Let's dive right in. So I'll try to make amends and get a test done at the birth to confirm everything, which is a few months away, practically speaking. Like I said before, though, she said she won't stop me from being in the kid's life, but my name won't be added to the birth certificate, so I guess you can take it where you can get it. I really hope all of this will work out. Some people were saying to ghost her or just not to be there, but what if the kid is mine? I can't simply up and leave and abandon it. I made a mistake, and as a result, it's here. It never asked to be, so I gotta man up, you know?
I do like that this guy is manning up.
Just W guy.
I really think he's doing his best with not great information. I will tell you that.
He's trying to build a car out of rocks and sticks over here.
He's rocking and sticking it, and he was rocking and sticking from the beginning of the story too, if we have any memory of that. But yeah, I laud him on his efforts. My hopes aren't high for his chances of this actually being his kid.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
I don't want an affair child, but my family is pressuring me.
Oh, boy.
Trigger warning, mention of substances and assault. So I, 27 male, was in a very high stress situation because of my family and business problems for months, and I failed to deal with it in a healthy way. My fault. I was a substance user during my college days. When I asked my girlfriend, 24 female, for a date, she said, I would have said yes if you weren't an addict.
Oh.
I said, give me a chance. I will leave everything. We started going on dates, and in 6 months' time, I was no longer a regular user.
Right.
Boom.
Nice.
My whole relationship was built on this promise. Oh, God, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, whenever my friends would invite me for a party, they made sure that there were no substances around, but at a party over a month ago, it turned out there were. I went alone because my girlfriend was visiting her mother, and as I mentioned earlier, everything going on in my life had been wearing me down. When I saw the devil's lettuce, I thought, just trying it once might help me unwind for at least one night. And like a fool, I did it after being clean for 6 years.
That's rough.
After that, I didn't stop there. I ended up drinking too much as well. Later that night, my former friends with benefits, 27 female, approached me in a way I wasn't expecting. And eventually, I made another poor choice.
That's really sad. Like, obviously, cheated, never okay. But, like, it's really sad that this person relapsed.
Yeah.
And made poor choices because of it. Really sad.
I'm not offering excuses. I fully admit that it was my own bad decisions that put me in this situation.
Yeah,
I just wanted to explain the whole context of what happened. At least OP is owning up to it.
Yeah.
I told my girlfriend everything the next time I saw her. But when I told her, she told me that she already knew everything.
Whoa.
What I didn't know was that a fair partner recorded everything
Whoa.
and sent it to my girlfriend.
Oh, man.
Oh,
man.
Do you think this was a trap?
This was a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. She did so in an attempt to break up our relationship.
Well, she succeeded.
Do you think OP would date you after that?
How?
Some days later, girlfriend gave me a chance
Wow.
with some conditions,
Wow.
She just likes a project.
which were reasonable, and I agreed. Wow. Man, I don't know if I would give this guy another chance.
Yeah.
Everything was going fine. Oh, God. Come on, dude. Come on, please. Until
No.
one day. My affair partner came home and dropped a bomb on us. She informed us that she is pregnant with my child. Oh!
Dang. She successfully. That was the
Whoa.
most successful trap I've ever seen.
Dang. Dude, she was ready.
She baby trapped
was
you
fertile.
in one go.
Eggs were on the counter,
Dang.
ready to be fertilized.
Dude, this was more successful than she had hoped.
Oh my God, she's the fastest gun in the West. That girl don't
Dang.
miss.
Whoa.
She is a target, and she's moving into that little bullet. I took her to a gynecologist, and I found out that yes, she is indeed pregnant. I just don't know if the child is mine or not. Honestly, we shouldn't accept her word for it.
Yeah, let's check. 'Cause she's
Yeah, Made in McDonald's says paternity test.
big
100%.
time.
It'll take a few more weeks to get a prenatal paternity test to confirm who the father is. A fair partner is telling me that according to the timeline, I am the father, but I am not taking any chances. I have told a fair partner that if the child is mine, I will pay her the child support and I will make sure the child has a good life, but I will give up my parental rights and I will never be anything to the child and her. I have told her even if my girlfriend leaves me, she and the child will be nothing to me.
I don't like that. She should be nothing to you, but your kid? I think OP.
You made a choice.
Oh, you made a choice.
I don't know.
And you even owned up to that choice. You're like, I made a mistake.
I mean,
I
but
owned
some
up to-
people aren't
yeah.
going to be good parents, and
Yeah.
like it's better having a non-existent parent than a good parent, but it is still a bad reflection of OP.
But I think that decision needs to be like, I'm not going to be a good parent, and not like, oh, well, my girlfriend doesn't want me
Yeah.
to parent this kid. That's mine.
Yeah. In her last attempt to get me, she told my and her parents that she is pregnant. Oh, she is pulling out all the stops.
Dang, man.
My parents started guilt tripping me, saying that I will be abandoning my potential child, which is true. When I didn't budge, they started threatening that they will remove me from their will.
Oh.
They started reminding me how it will be a huge loss. I told them that I am doing very well, and in a decade, I will not feel the loss. So when they saw that I can't be financially blackmailed, they told the rest of the family, even the extended one, except my grandparents and my brother, everyone is against me. I have told everyone again and again that I will not leave my girlfriend, and that means the child has to go away from my life. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true.
You can
And I
still
don't think
be
your
with your
girlfriend should be
girlfriend.
asking that.
Yeah, but you can be with your girlfriend and co-parent with this woman, but she does sound terrible.
Megan McDonald says, I think he needs substance abuse therapy before getting anywhere near parenting a child. I agree with that.
Agreed.
Absolutely agree. But I think also he just needs that in general.
I know the child is innocent, but I can't be the child's father. Even if my girlfriend leaves me, I don't think I can be a good father for the child due to the circumstances of conception. Why can't they understand I may grow to resent the child? This has created a rift in my family. I want some outside perspective on how to mend the rift. Any suggestions? Okay. So I would love to know from chat because, none of us are parents.
Yeah.
So obviously we don't know, but I know if I knocked a fair maiden up that was not that fair of a maiden, so maybe an unfair maiden,
Unfair maiden.
I think I would still feel a responsibility to raise
I think so.
the child in some way.
I get what he's
or
saying.
be
I won't
there.
be a good dad, but it's like, how do you're not even trying?
Yeah. And I don't think that would mean I would necessarily be with the unfair maiden in a relationship.
No.
But I would work to co-parent with the unfair maiden. But also, I want to be a parent. So that's like, I think that, as Slightly Tove says, do not force being a parent.
I don't think you should be forced to be a parent, but I think also there's like, I guess he
There's
is saying that he would be
responsibilities.
there is responsibilities.
And he is saying that
He would be
pay-
financially responsible, which is good. And some people are saying about like him being under the influence. That is a great point. The way he said it, it did sound like he was like, it was cheating. Like he didn't say it like it was unconsensual.
Yeah. I do think she took advantage of him.
I do think so.
I do think she took advantage of
absolutely
him.
think
I don't
so.
think he views it as anything more than that, but I
Yeah.
think maybe on some technicalities, like if I think we could maybe say that yes, she did take advantage of him.
I think
Not
so.
even technicalities. I think she did take advantage of him.
I believe so. Yes, she planned all of that. That was a
But
trap.
he's not interpreting it as that. I understand that no one should force to be a parent because like that could cause damage to a child and it would be bad for the child. But I do
agree.
think if you knock someone up and you have a kid, I think you are shirking a responsibility by not parenting that child. And yes, although
Unless you're putting the child up for adoption, there are other options. But I think like when one parent is like, yeah, I'm taking care of this kid, and you're like, but he is doing he is providing financially, so that is good.
the blind one says men don't always process that they can be taken advantage of or violated when they're impaired.
I think that's a great point.
No, I think that is a great point, but I also feel like that's like that might be technically true. I don't think he's like carrying the baggage of what that means in how he's talking about this.
Yeah.
And Nicole H says she was sober enough to set up a video instead of the girlfriend. Yeah, I think she might have been sober, honestly.
Which is like
makes it
so
even
icky,
more
so
effed.
icky. I think it's tricky because I think on the one hand, like looking at it, he is providing for the kid. Anonymous says the way you're shaming is the equivalent of shaming a woman for for giving up a child for adoption. I wasn't seeing it that way because I don't think that anyone should be ashamed for putting a child up for adoption when they know they can't parent the child. So I guess like that does make sense. That comparison makes sense.
Yeah, but I think giving up a child for adoption is a really hard thing
it's super
to do.
hard, yeah.
It's not an easy task because this is and again, I've never been in there, but I think as someone who wants to be a father, I would find it very hard to give up my kid for adoption, even though I might not be ready or whatever. Like I feel to say it's not to say it's not a hard decision, I think is not true, because there's some level of responsibility that you are now giving to someone else. At least in America, the foster care system is not that great. And so when you are giving up a kid for adoption, there is causing putting into question whether you can find a good person. But you can. There's parents that you can find.
Miss Jaber says don't force people to parent. Child support, yes, but not forced to parent.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense. I don't think that the mom is going to be a very good parent either.
Yeah.
She'll probably just blackmail other people to raise her kid for her.
I think also there's kind of a different interpretation of the story, which I understand because it is unclear. But I think a lot of people are interpreting this as he was SA'd.
Yeah.
Which could be true. But
he
doesn't see it that way, which is why I
way.
think we were having that kind of disconnect in the beginning. But I think that she did take advantage of him and he just isn't seeing it that way.
Yeah. But let us know what you think in the comments. This is obviously a very hot button and an emotional issue. You know, like people are going to disagree with this. Bianca says, I disagree with that as someone who was taken advantage of while under the influence, right? And I think this is the thing about a story like this. There's a lot of gray, right? There's a lot of gray, and
especially
it's very dependent on the person.
He's in he doesn't see it that way, and it's
also
a lot of people
It's very
who are
dependent also
taking
on
advantage
how
don't
under
see
the
them. Yeah.
influence you are too, right?
Exactly. We don't know.
One beer is different than like 15,
Yeah.
right? So it's like there's so much gray here. And there's a lot of people that have experienced like this. So again, please, like,
Yeah.
this is a chance for discussion. We don't have all the answers, but we got some more comments. And we got an update coming up too. Your girlfriend is seriously staying with you after this. Man, I hope she wakes up and leaves. No good can come from staying with a cheating regular user, and now a child is in the mix. What an effing nightmare for her. In reply, notice how everything came back with an apologist backstory where he took very little responsibility for his own actions, and now the child is going to suffer for his actions. I feel sorry for the child to have such a selfish person as a father. Unfortunately, even if he classifies himself as only an immoral baby juice donor, he'll still leave a void in this child's life and cause further pain for decades to come. If there's one thing I found out in life, that is that addicts and liars cannot be counted on. They'll always take the selfish, easy way out for themselves and expense of others. I don't know. That feels a little bit too harsh. Someone can struggle
Yeah.
with addiction and still make it through the other side.
I think so.
Comment 2, aside from that, I wouldn't be with anyone willing to not be in their child's life. It says a lot about a person. And there is an update.
I think that, like, my last thought, I think OP needs to sit with this and maybe go to therapy and see how he feels about this situation. Because if his reasoning is like, I don't want to be in this kid's life because my girlfriend doesn't want me to, think about that. If it's, I don't want to be in this kid's life because I have very complicated feelings about how it happened and how I feel like maybe taken advantage of, then it's like, yeah, don't be in this kid's life because you felt taken advantage of.
Yeah.
This kid was like came out of a traumatic situation maybe for you.
And I also
But I think it's like, where did it come from?
I also want to be careful for projection onto this story, because he is not saying that he was taken advantage of. He is kind of like saying that, like, you know, like the obviously got taken advantage of with the recording and stuff, but he's not saying like, you know,
I did not
or
consent
anything.
to this.
He's not saying that. So I'd be careful to speak on behalf of this guy.
And thank you all for sharing your thoughts in the chat. It's a hard topic to talk about, and I appreciate it.
All right. But we got an update. So a couple of hours ago, someone asked about my situation. So I thought to give an update and a few responses. First of all, except for 2 comments, each and every comment helped me, both negative and positive ones. So thanks for that. To the first dude that irritated me, to you, I want to say, yes, I read your comment that I don't deserve my girlfriend and she should leave me. You don't need to reach me everywhere possible to say this. I read it once. To the second dude, I'm quoting a line I read in one Reddit post for you. You only have 2 brain cells competing for a 3rd place. You said I should leave my girlfriend and get in a relationship with my affair partner because she must have something which my girlfriend lacks. That's why I cheated. And now the reason for the update. I am the father.
Oof.
But it is in the best interest of both me and the child that I am not involved in the child's life. Because of all the comments, I thought about it long and hard and came to the conclusion that no biological father is better than a biological father who resents.
I think that's true.
I think that's true. I will still pay for the child support. My girlfriend also advised me that I should also create a college fund for the child. If there's something else I can do, then you can give me some advice.
Therapy.
During my IC, it has been revealed that I have developed borderline psychopathic tendencies due to my childhood and my work ethic. To be honest, I always suspected this. I always had some degree of reduced empathy, risk-taking, and overly high self-regard when it comes to people who are not my family and girlfriend, so I hope you can see the dangers here. Now, let's come to my family. The situation is not right. I am on low contact with everyone except my grandparents and brother. It is my sister who has cut me the deepest, though. 2 years ago, when she got pregnant, both she and her husband decided to terminate the child because they were not emotionally prepared. It was their words. If my parents got to know about this, all heck would have broken loose. It was I who kept her secret. It was I who helped both of them to get a pregnancy termination as smoothly as possible without anyone knowing. Now, when I needed her support, she is saying it will be amazing to have a nephew or niece, and she will be an amazing aunt.
Oh.
She is treating me like this now. Our relationship will never be the same
That's
again.
tough.
Especially
That is really
after...
tough. Yeah, helping her. That's really
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's not like seeing that this is a super complicated situation for OP.
Yeah. Now, why a fair partner did this? We were friends since we were 13, and we became friends with benefits since we were 16. Somewhere down the line, she started liking me romantically, but I never saw her that way. I should have nipped the problem in the bud back then, but I was too selfish back then. Then my girlfriend came into my life, and I thought that it was too long. Her feelings would be long gone by now, but now it's come to bite me in the back. Why she thought that by doing this we can be together, I don't know. I think substances have addled her mind, or she is suffering from some serious mental problems, or she's obsessed with me. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss. Now let's come to the most important person in my life, my girlfriend. Some people were saying I should set her free and let her be happy. I'm not holding her captive, neither am I forcing her to be with me. She is free to do what she wants. I even told her if all this gets too much and she decides to leave me, I will not hold it against her, and I will understand why she did so, and there will be no negative feelings from my side. She chose to stay with me. She also goes to therapy. I'm doing everything possible to make sure she doesn't suffer emotional torture from my family, except my grandparents and brother. A fair partner, a fair partner's family, and a fair partner's friends. Till now, I've been successful. She also has got close to my grandmother and her sister. It's good to see that she has a good support system. Now on to the comments saying that I was spicy, relatedly, harmfully acted, right? So this is what we've been talking about, right? This is the essay. That night when AP made her move, I remember saying, no, it's not right. But she kept persisting, and eventually I gave in. If it was 6 years ago, I could have resisted against AP's advances. Now I'm thinking, has my tolerance decreased, or did I really cheat? I really don't know, but one thing is sure, that I still betrayed her that night by doing substances. Any suggestions?
Which I think this is a really important thing, because he was assaulted.
And I see his individual counseling. That makes it sound more like assault.
I mean, he said no.
Like he wasn't in
that,
her.
that's assault. I think before it was a little bit more murky because we didn't know that. I think this, I think it's a completely different situation. Yeah. When you know he was assaulted.
Yeah. And he still is owning up to the part of, I did substances, which was against my relationship.
But also he's, I feel dealing with a relapse.
But I feel like the,
that he was assaulted.
She sounds like she is an abuser in this
Absolutely, situation. And she should. This is completely not okay. A lot of people were saying press charges. I think so. I think he probably finds that a little bit hard to think about because it's so many years down the line. But absolutely press charges. That was assault, and I think it does change a lot of my feelings on the story of like staying with a child after assault, because I absolutely believe that women who are assaulted should not have to bear that the child of their assaulter. Mm-hmm. So I do not think that he, should have to bear that. But child. I think when we originally started the story, he made it sound like it wasn't, like it was more consensual, which is, I had a different thought on that because, like if you have a consensual relationship, I think it is this is not about this story, but like in other examples, we've had people who have consensual spicy sleep. And then the husband, the father is like, well, I don't want to be this kid's parent, and dips. And that's, not great. But this is a completely different situation where you have someone who has been assaulted and probably has a lot of feelings that he seemingly is repressing because he didn't even see it as assault. Yeah. And it's saying, I don't want to parent that child. I resent them. And it's like, you have,
because
you connect
it was a child of assault.
You connect them to that assault. So I think that is like super relevant.
Yeah, I agree.
Super relevant information that OP clearly didn't even process.
That was a rough story. We got one more.
My husband wants to have a child, but our situation is complicated.
No babies here.
No babies. July 2016. Okay, I'm child-free, but I, 32 female, have kids. Actually, 2 amazing step-kids. Scott, an 11-year-old, and Vinny, who's 15. I met their father, Billy, 37 male, from a shared friend. By the way, this comes from user childfreestepmom1, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, since we've had the same friend circle, I kept seeing Billy in social events, and we found we had a lot in common. We became friends before we started dating. Actually, I was hesitating about the idea of dating Billy because he was divorced and had kids. I was child-free, but he convinced me to take it slowly and see how it progresses. I told him that I never wanted to be a mother, nor will I be a mom in any future, and I would never replace their mom. He seemed to be okay with it, so we dated for nearly 2 years. I found their kids sweet since they still live with their mom and only saw them on the weekdays. Unfortunately, their mom fell ill, and we all soon found out that she had ovarian and it was terminal. She had passed away 8 months after the diagnosis. Scott and Vinny moved in with us. They were 7 and 11 when their mom passed away, and it was very hard, especially with grief-stricken children. I'm not proud to say that I had considered a few times to leave Billy, but I made a vow to my husband, and I promised myself to see this through, to see if I can do this, and see if I can love them. It took a while, but with the help of therapy, a lot of sports, piano practices, and a few other distractions, the kids were on their way to healing. And surprisingly, I took motherhood okay, at least I think so, since they call me mom sometimes. Now, about 10 months go by. Billy asked me if I still thought myself as child-free. I told him a part of me still is, but that seemed not the right term since I now have kids. Granted, they were his kids, but I was raising them with Billy. I was watching them grow into amazing people. After that, he asked me if I wanted a kid of my own. I told him no. That has not changed. I never wanted to be a mother, even though I am. I asked what this questioning was all about, and the next thing took me entirely by surprise. Billy told me he wanted to have another kid with me. I gently made it clear to him that that wasn't possible. Then he responded by telling me this might be a quote-unquote deal breaker. I was shocked, and I couldn't stay calm, and we ended up having a loud argument after that. The next few days after conversation, I walked like a zombie, terrified of our marriage ending abruptly. I tried to talk to my husband a few times, but he gave me the give me time and space to accept it, and I'll tell you about my decisions later, or some variety of that. I had a panic attack in the following weeks, and I tried to reconsider to have a baby, and I tried to convince myself that it won't be so bad since I'm doing so good with Scott and Vinny, and I love them so much. They're so smart and creative that sometimes it surprises me where their mind goes. It's nothing but amazing. The youngest is so sensitive and sweet, and I just want to hug him until my arms get tired. That said, it's hard, really hard. I know if there was another life where someone presented me a choice to have Billy and his kid, or just Billy and no kid, I'd pick the latter, and I feel so guilty for having those thoughts. So guilty and angry at myself. I begged Billy for us to go to couples counseling, and finally he relented. Our spicy sleep drive has gone to 0. He didn't want to touch me, and I vice versa. I rechecked my birth control. We were basically a roommate in an uncomfortable situation. And you know what is the ironic part? Scott and Vinny and I never had been so close to each other than before because I found comfort and happiness through them, while the gap between my husband and I grew bigger and bigger. I just didn't know how to fix it. Couples therapy seemed to work, at least I thought so, until my cousin, who was a divorce lawyer, called me to see if we were okay.
Looking for some work.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a bit of a biased ear to lean on in that moment.
Yeah. My goal in life is to bring the marriage divorce rate down by 1%.
Wow.
That's what I'd like to do.
I think you just accomplished that mission.
No, I'm going to write a book and go on speech runs and all that stuff. That's going to be my life.
Couples therapy seemed to work. At least I thought so until my divorce lawyer cousin called me to see if we were okay. He saw Billy at his firm, where his partner took his case. I couldn't say a coherent word. He tried to console me while I cried, but I ended hanging up and calling my husband. And you know what he said? I was covering my bases.
Because if you go to a lawyer firm,
Yeah, it's true.
to get represented, perhaps in the future, then that other person can't go to that lawyer firm.
Yeah, but something to be aware of.
Marriage story.
I was furious. So furious, I wanted to break his things, but I held myself back. I was seeing red. Months of being withheld affection, months of thinking it was all my fault for being so uncompromising, despite me telling him through all the years that my stance of child-free hasn't changed. Months of loneliness and self-doubt. Months of trying to work on my marriage and getting nothing. I was tired of it all. I found a divorce lawyer of another firm through my cousin since he couldn't represent me due to a conflict of interest. I checked my lawyer about child custody and he assured I had 50-50 since I adopted them not long ago because despite everything, I still wanted to be a part of their lives. Then I began the divorce proceedings.
Man.
This is like you're gonna fire me? Nuh-uh, I quit.
Dang. But in this scenario, you get a severance package if you quit rather than getting fired.
I'm gonna say this is for the best.
Yeah.
Because clearly this guy wants you to have another kid and you want absolutely nothing to do with that. Although, strangely enough, in the way that you wrote this, it does sound like you very much enjoyed kind of being a mother to these two kids. But
Like
you're
she
also
said.
being like, I don't want to have to raise a child
She's okay with playing
this
third
guy.
base.
You've got to think it's like a temporary situation at that moment. Having a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old that have already been raised to take care of is way different than giving birth to an infant and then raising it up yourself with your partner.
Like I said, you're just finishing out the season, playing third base.
I know you're latching on to that comparison. I feel like
Is it not clicking?
We're going to find out after the 4th of July if you're getting absolutely smoked for this opinion
I
or
know.
not.
This is just what makes sense in my head, you know?
Anyway, guys, go easy on him, all right? Riley's just trying to reduce divorce rates. After serving the divorce papers to Billy, it was like a 360-degree change of attitude. He begged me not to go through with it. He apologized for everything and said that he had a fantasy of me being swollen with pregnant belly and thinking that kid is mine, and he got caught up with it. He said that he wasn't trying to pressure me, just coming to terms of not having a kid with me with both of our genes. He said a lot of things, but I felt it was all too late. Not only that, I felt like he was playing with my emotions and treating our marriage like some kind of game. I don't know. Should I give him a second chance? I can't think this clearly, and I'm so overwhelmed through the whiplash of emotions. I'm staying with my mom for 2 days for a breather. I want to stay, but not in that limbo. What should I do? It's been a few months since I posted, and I have great news. Guys, just get ready for the misdirect. There's no way. We're still married. I'm pregnant. Yay! Just kidding. Actually, we're divorcing instead. Anyway, here comes a novel. After I posted on Reddit, I went back home from mom's and tried to act normal for the kids. My marriage might be a mess, but it didn't have anything to do with them, so I didn't want to disrupt their routines. A few weeks later, I found a sublet place from a friend who decided to travel for a few months. The sublet helped me a lot mentally and emotionally. I stayed there most of the night to sleep after work, while the day was spent mostly with our children and life. It was sort of an escape, although it was lonely. Billy conceded to the sublet, but he didn't have much choice to refuse outright because I think he realized he had overstepped his bounds. He was a bit different after I demanded a divorce. He was saying, asking, and doing the right things, respecting me more than before, giving me space at the right moment, and being there when I needed. It was as if he linked to my thoughts and catered to them while ignoring his. I knew he was doing those things because he felt guilty or he was afraid to lose me, although this behavior wasn't the reason that convinced me to work on our marriage. First, I love him, and I love our kids. I loved our lives together, our house, and everything that entailed. Second, this was the first real strain of our marriage, not the second or third strike. Sure, we had problems before, but it was mostly minor stuff, so I decided to give him a second chance, with the idea of the divorce still on the table, but shelved for a time to see if we could resolve this particular dilemma. We did many different couples counseling sessions, mostly because we were changing therapists and counselors, because most of them we encountered were biased. I could tell most of them were on my side, except one who was on his. I knew we needed a neutral party because it was about a partnership and not assigning blame. See, now, I might get flamed for this, but guys, on a fundamental linchpin issue like I want another kid and you don't want to have one. I don't want to be a mom to another kid. You don't need to spend a bunch of money and time on therapy and all of this stuff. Unless one of you truly doesn't feel that way, if one of you says, I need more kids, and one of you's like, I cannot do that, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's like trying to light water on fire, which you can do, but ignore that for a second and pretend it's impossible.
I didn't know there was a possibility.
Well, you need more than just water and fire is the problem. I knew we needed a neutral party because it was about partnership and not assigning blame. It took us a while to find one, and a rather expensive one, but this counselor was worth it. In our session, we hashed out our thoughts out in the open. Mine was easier to broadcast because I had a list I wrote down from one of the commenters here. Things I thought were worth asking because some of you pointed out that this might be a case of Billy having a pregnancy fatouche, which didn't even occur to me. When I wrote swollen with a pregnant belly on the post, I put it there because that was his explanation, and I thought it was rather a weak excuse. The idea of Billy having a fatouche gave me dismay. I even had nightmares about it. Thankfully, when I asked him about it during the session, he was horrified and sort of grossed out. He didn't even think that fatouche existed. He explained that it wasn't like that he wanted to have part of me and part of him together. Crazy though that you're not seeing that it still is a 50-50 because no one when their weird thing gets exposed immediately goes, yeah, and you know what? That was right. I'm obsessed with the thought of you being swollen and pregnant in a weird way. You actually hit the nail on the head with that, and I'm going to admit to it. Of course he's going to go, no, I don't, what even, that's a thing? That's not a thing. People do that? You're crazy.
I didn't know.
He wanted to see our child grow up to see if he or she would be curious, inquisitive, mischievous, and so on and so forth. Billy had this image of the child growing to be a scientist like me, with my physical features and personality, but he also said it's only a preference. In reality, he didn't care what the child would be as long as he or she was happy. He wanted a symbol of our love where it could be seen, interacted with, felt, touched, and nurtured for. A child was that symbol for him. It was a lovely idea, but it was an idea I wasn't getting on board with. And I pointed that out to Billy. It was a lovely idea, but it was an idea I wasn't going to get on board with. And I pointed that out to Billy. I said I never wanted a child because I never felt motherly or any kind of desire. There was no longing or deep ache that it would hurt me not to have a child. I told him that bringing a child into a world while his or her mother didn't want to have him or her was unfair for the child, and that there was a real and high possibility that I wouldn't love him or her if I compromised. Billy could not believe that, on the basis that I fell in love with his kids. I told him that while I loved them, it was because I had to learn how. It wasn't instinctive or biologically driven. Well, I think this is actually someone who has fallen victim to like the propaganda of like, I feel like there's all these ideas circulating about like what a woman has to like feel or do or think to like have a kid or like be motherly. It's like, I feel like if she just stopped thinking, maybe she would enjoy having a kid with this guy. But like,
She's overthinking it. But from the beginning, she's never wanted a kid.
right. And then, but it's like, then she raised him and she's like,
She did her part in the marriage. That was hard whenever the mom passed. But she doesn't want to have a kid. She doesn't want to go through motherhood.
I just wonder if you need the instinct for that to be, I mean, if she doesn't want that, she doesn't want that. I get that. I just mean like, I wonder if this was informed by like an idea someone else put in her head. Where it's like, oh, because you don't feel this deep yearning, you should never be a mother because you'll end up hating your child or something. I don't know. This could be something. I mean, I don't like chocolate because my cousin at 5 told me he didn't like chocolate. So I was like, I'm not going to like chocolate. Dude, your cousin's cool.
He actually has been fired for being a policeman because he stole 80 grand from his dad.
Okay. I gave up too much of my autonomy for him and his kids. I gave up my dream of traveling. I gave up my hobbies and nearly all of my friends because I was so busy managing my job, our kids, errands, and responsibilities that I didn't even have time for me. I even gave up my freedom and privacy. Our spicy times were often disrupted because we were too tired and exhausted, or our kids were knocking on our bedroom door for something. I told him having a baby was different because it meant giving up my identity, the only thing that was left of me, the only thing I could keep, and if I compromised, it wouldn't be me anymore. I was nearly 100% sure I would come to resent my own child for that fact only. I told him when he mentioned his deal breaker, it made me feel like he didn't care about my feelings to take into consideration, after I told him many times that I never wanted to have one. The way that Billy went about it, asking for space without actually talking about it, and then going to my particular cousin's firm who dealt in divorce, felt manipulative. Billy admitted that he did go to my cousin's firm knowing it would get back to me, but he went there not to see his options or even to manipulate me, but because he had decided on going through divorce, because not having a child hurt him, and he didn't want to resent me, but was beginning to. He felt rejected, as if I never wanted him to be a dad for my own child, or rather I thought of him as a terrible father in any form. But now he knows it was irrational and stemmed from his hurt and insecurities. He's dealing with it now with his own therapy. Also, he went there because it would have steeled his resolve with the idea that if he backed off, I would hear about it, so it kind of forced his hand to commit to it. It was a fail-proof plan for him, except it didn't work. It was really stupid of him because he couldn't do it, even with the threat of me finding out about it. Not devious, just incredibly stupid.
Well, guess what? He didn't divorce you, you did. And that's going to be a story from now on.
Well, I mean, I also don't even think it's that stupid. It's like, if anything, it's considerate. He's going to the one firm in town that you can't use.
Yeah.
Because your cousin works there, which means no one's going to represent you.
No. She could still go there, but the fact that he went there first, she can't go to the cousin.
I highly doubt a firm employing her cousin would take her case, because it creates a conflict of interest. They would probably avoid that.
My brother is a lawyer. Can he represent me in court?
No, 100% not.
Sorry, I can't do that. What is that? Open context?
They talked about that in the story earlier, Riley.
All right. I'm going to trust Dakota on this one.
It's true. I was heartbroken when he told me this. I just don't know which is worse, since it hurts me to find out Billy's clown reaction after our conversation about kids was to head to a divorce lawyer with the intentions of going through it without talking to me first. I think a small part of me would have preferred devious because it meant he didn't give me up right away. Despite our sessions, Billy didn't seem to understand why I didn't want to have a kid. He said that it was instinctual, like we're driven deep down in our biology to have one or two. Again, all these dumb ideas about motherhood and pregnancy and all this crazy crap. He found it strange to live in a childless world, or rather, he found the concept strange. It was as if a whole part of his brain never seemed to get it, no matter how many memos it received. Then I got another bombshell from Billy. When we were dating, he said he was okay with me being child-free because he honestly thought he didn't want more after his first divorce, but he didn't actually believe me. He thought eventually I would change my mind and was worried of when, but he put it in the "we're going to deal with that when we cross that bridge later" category. Later, when our kids moved in after their biological mom's passing, he saw how good I was with them, and he couldn't help but imagine having another child, this time with me.
Passing the football around.
See, and this is where we go, hey, remember when we said that we were okay with not having any more kids? I think my mind just switched on that. Immediately, you bring this kind of stuff to your partner. You don't just go, I know she's good. You go, we got to talk about this now.
But dude, when you're in love, you're in love.
So, he said he kept hoping for any sign, any glimmer that I shared his feelings. He waited years for me to talk about reconsidering my stance on kids until he couldn't, and that's where the trouble began. After that session, I felt defeated. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a huge part of me went into BSOD until it rebooted into safe mode. I was on autopilot interacting with the world because I had to, while another part of me just wanted to hide away forever. My counselor was the one who noticed it after a few sessions and asked me for another one just by myself, so I went there alone. My counselor said that he was worried for me because he saw a clear sign of depression and that wasn't good if I didn't let anyone know about it. He was afraid that I wasn't dealing with it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Okay.
The blue screen of if you ever get that with the computer, that's what that is.
B-sod.
Oh my gosh, I've had that happen so many times during live streams that I've wanted to just, oh man.
Dude, that's a new thing we're going to say. If the live stream crashes, we're just going to go, B-sod, B-sod, B-sod.
Oh my gosh.
He was afraid that I wasn't dealing with it. Then he asked me a few questions in hypothetical scenarios that made me realize we weren't compatible anymore. And while it might hurt to realize, it didn't mean that it was going to hurt forever. I sort of broke down after that. I cried for a long time until the tissues ran out, and then my counselor had her receptionist drive me home because honestly, I was a wreck. And he told me to think about what he said. I didn't head to my place. I asked her to drop me off at my home to talk to Billy. Privately, I asked him if we didn't have another child, could he see me in his life at any point in the future without resentment and bitterness? I told him to really think about it. I think he didn't want to admit it. I think, like me, he did not want to give us up because we loved each other too much. And for a time, we were happy. We were really happy until we weren't. The divorce was back on the table, and this time we're going through with it without struggle or fight. We've agreed to 50-50 custody and splitting our material possessions and financial matters in half, except for a few personal things. We decided to sell our house, and I'm looking for a permanent apartment, and Billy is looking to near the boys' school. And by the way, you can look for full episodes with stories just like this, and you will find them on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search the name of this show, OK Storytime, and woo, you've got over, 2,400 episodes now at our fingertips? Wild. A wild number of episodes.
Posting.
And we are almost at the end of the story here. Riley, do you have any, let's close it off, yeah?
You've seen it coming. It's been in the back. You watch movies and the bad guy's always in the background. You just never really looked at him until the end of the movie.
Yes, actually, I love those kind of movies.
This is what it is. Kids have always been in the background, even though you don't like the idea of kids.
Did you just make the kids the bad guy in that metaphor?
Yes, I did. Not saying they are the bad guys, but that's just... It's just that's been in the background all the time.
Yeah, no, but
movie.
you are right. It's been like the Jaws theme song of dun and then a couple years will go by, but then it'll dun.
Yep.
Dun, 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 and it's been the kids at you. But again, if Billy would have never lied and been like, women, I know she's going to change her mind because she's a woman. She's biologically hardwired to want a child. It's like, you should just be honest about how you're feeling at any given moment in your relationship. Don't lie to your partners about something like, do you see us having more kids?
Yeah.
She goes, no, I don't. You go, I'm fine with that.
Dude.
You're a liar. You're lying.
Angie wants 4.
Good luck. All right, let's get back into the story. So we're afraid to tell our kids about our divorce. I think it will be the hardest thing we might ever do together. Right next to telling Scott that his mom wasn't coming back. Wow. I'm scared Scott and Vinny won't want me to be their mom anymore, and I'm hoping so hard that it won't be the case. Billy assures me that that won't happen, but he can't know that for sure. And sometimes I get angry at him for putting me through the situation, or I get angry at myself for being child-free. I get angry a lot. I think also, though,
Don't trust
OP,
Billy
to
anymore.
speak on your point here, Riley, OP really does need to get clear with herself. Because OP keeps calling herself child-free, and then she keeps calling these two kids her children. So, of course, that's confusing. Get clear with yourself. Are these your kids or not? Do you feel like you're their mother or not?
She's getting 50-50, so I think so.
So if you feel like you're their mother, I don't think you should really call yourself child-free. Because
Yeah.
you're not anymore. It's just about adding another one now. Anyway, next week, I got an appointment to go to therapy because I know I'm not okay after having a few panic attacks and bouts of depression after we had agreed upon the divorce. I'm thinking of taking a sabbatical soon because I don't want my coworkers and my superiors to witness my breakdowns. I know I have a long way to go and the divorce hasn't been finalized yet. I'm hoping everything will be okay after that. Thanks for the advice. And that is the end of that story.
I told my queer child that I need more time to process. Now I'm being ignored.
Should have processed quicker.
I, 58 male, have a child, female to male, 17, who is transgender. My child uses he, him pronouns at school and around friends and also goes by preferred name at school. My wife and I signed off on anything related to school and referred to my child with the preferred name and pronouns around teachers and friends. By the way, this comes from Necessary Garlic 1109, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we are also in the process of hiring a college counselor and introduce my child with the preferred name and pronouns to said counselor, since that's what will be going on the college application. Last night, my child asked me to talk about why my wife or I haven't used the preferred name and pronouns at home, despite it being 5 years since my child came out. My child seemed laid back and steady the entire conversation, but also seemed to be frustrated throughout parts, particularly at my answers. The truth is, as I told my child, I need a little more time. I've called my child one thing for 17 years. It's not easy to just switch at the press of a button. My child also pointed out that some friends who are transgender have much more flexible parents when it comes to all this, but I feel like my wife and I have been doing a good job. We got stuff set up with the school. We refer to my child in the preferred way around friends. I don't understand why my child is upset.
What do you mean you don't understand?
I haven't used their legal name in years, but apparently that's not enough. In my defense, my child has never formally asked me or my wife to use the preferred name or pronouns at home. I asked my child about this, and the response was that it's not something that I should have to ask you. It's something that you should just do. I feel like my feelings aren't being considered here. It's not an easy change. I told my child that I was sorry things weren't moving as fast as my child might like, but that I need time to process. We ended the conversation there on what I thought was a positive note, but my child has been giving me the silent treatment since they woke up this morning. I told my wife that we should all have a discussion this weekend, but I'm worried it won't have the outcome my child wants. I'm very grateful that my child has been so patient, but I feel like some things might be said that my child will regret, and I'm worried for how that might impact our relationship. Apologies for the ramble. I don't have a lot of experience in this and was hoping for some thoughts from people in similar situations or know people in a similar situation. Am I the a-hole? And there is an edit. I've seen a lot of the rage bait comments, and I can assure you I'm not nearly that talented of a writer to come up with this on my own.
Also, this is like so many parents I know. This is not
Yeah,
rage bait. This
no,
is
this
so
is-
common.
This is very real. This is a real person story, and I appreciate seeing all the advice I've received. My family is having a discussion this weekend, and I don't really know how updates work on this subreddit, but I might post an update afterwards if people are interested. Edit number 2, I did not expect this post to gain so much attention. I appreciate all the helpful advice and DMs I've received. Replying to comments is a bit overwhelming, but I assure you I've read as many as I can, and there are some comments, but what are some of your comments?
Oh boy. I think that OP needs to work harder on this.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of mental energy to
Yeah.
rework how you see someone.
Right.
But it is possible if you work at it. The only thing that I actually will give OP is the child saying, I shouldn't have had to ask.
Yeah.
I think that is like, when you're a young queer kid, you're like, well, you should just know.
Yeah.
Or like just when you're a kid, you just expect your parents to understand things.
Right.
Parents are not going to clearly not going to understand it. You
Exactly.
should ask, you should make it very clear what you want.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
your response to, I shouldn't have to ask you, you should just know, should not be, well, I don't, you just have to get a deal with it.
Right.
You've told me now, you've expressed feelings, and still I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, even after OP has been informed, like, clearly
Yeah.
and, concisely, and, you've got all the information now, you're still not willing
Right.
to put in the work.
There are some comments. One is by OP to the question of what is he usually calling his son. And then this one is heavily downvoted. Typically, I say the first letter of my child's given name, which conveniently aligns with the chosen name. Either that or the child. My child is an only child, and I think it's quite funny. And the consensus is you're the a-hole. People point out, while it's okay to need time to adjust to things, it's been 5 years, which is a third of his son's life. They also point out that the gymnastics to avoid pronouns in the posting are painful to watch, and it would be easier to just use the ones his son prefers. So there is an update. So 5 months later, a lot has happened, and while my child is away at camp, I thought I would take the time to post an update. I received a lot of advice in the thousands of comments and dozens of DM requests I got. A lot of this advice was a wake-up call that me and my wife really needed, and I appreciate everyone who took the time to send thoughtful and constructive responses. To those who wrote that my child was mentally ill, that he was just confused, or that I needed to send him to a conversion camp, shame on all of you. My child is happy, he is loved, and he is not going to heck just for being who he is. Okay, we're finally seeing he being used. This is a good sign. On to what has happened. My family and I had a series of discussions following the original conversation I had with my child. To put it simply, we realized how important it was for my child to be referred to with his preferred name and pronouns all the time, including home life. Over the months that have passed since our discussion, I have been referring to my child by his preferred name as much as I can. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, this is great. We love to see it.
Woo!
Yes, I occasionally mess up, but I'm trying my hardest.
That's the point.
Right, exactly. He went to prom this year with his friends, and I took him to rent a suit for the first time. When we left with the suit in hand, he turned to me and said that it was the first time I hadn't made a single mistake, and that he really felt like my son for the first time. Aww.
This is lovely.
This is so nice. I won't lie, it made me tear up a little. We also went to a Father's Day baseball game this year, like we always do, but he told me that it felt like this was the first father-son game instead of daddy-daughter game. Even though our team got absolutely demolished, I think that was the most fun I've ever had at a game with him. It made me realize that I was putting my own comfort first, when in reality, seeing him this happy should have been my #1 priority. I've been talking to my mother about referring to my child with the correct name and pronouns, and it's been a little slower. She's been to my son's theater performances where his preferred name is listed in the program, but I don't think she's fully understood that that name is going to be a permanent thing, not a school nickname. I don't expect her to fully get it, and my child is very understanding. However, my wife is still getting used to it, and it's definitely taking her a lot more time. My son will often point out how she goes out of her way to use non-specific language when talking about him. For example, he lost his keys last week, and when my wife told me, she said, "I can't find ... the keys." The ... is to show the pause that she made when thinking of what to say. I didn't notice it very much at first, and I will admit part of it is because I used to make a similar mistake, but it's gotten pretty noticeable. I've talked to her in private, but she's always been less willing, and part of me thinks that she truly believes it's a phase. I don't know what to tell her. My son is relatively fine with it, but goes out of his way to avoid being around my wife when she's talking about him. Family events are also a bit of a nightmare. My wife's side of the family is huge, and she loves hosting, but they aren't the greatest with my son's name and pronouns. Surprisingly, though, her father has been pretty good, calling my child E and occasionally using male pronouns, but it depends on who he's talking to. There is another gender diverse member on my mother's side, but there has been a lot of hostility surrounding this person, and I wonder if part of that hostility is leaking onto how the family views my son as well. My son has discussed testosterone, and I know that he has plans to start as soon as he turns 18. I'm still discussing this with my wife, who is against it. She wants him to wait until he's done with college, because she's worried that with all the change that will happen, that testosterone would just be too much. I don't know what to think. He has been saving money from basically anywhere he can. He worked a job last summer, and I know he has a couple hundred in his piggy bank. Our insurance would cover it, but it's under my wife's name, so she would have to allow it, if I'm not mistaken. I know my son has done more research than I have. I know he's been looking forward to this, and I know he's a sneaky kid. He'll find a way to get his hands on it with or without my wife and I. I just want him to be safe and happy. I sincerely apologize for all my rambling. I never thought I'd update this post because I wasn't sure if I'd have anything good to report.
Yeah, I think this is a great report.
Yeah,
I think
I like how this update is going.
Yeah, like OP, truly, props to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of parents never get it,
Mm-hmm.
but you are trying, and your son notices this.
Exactly.
You know?
My wife and I are working on getting my son back into therapy, the normal kind, not the one that will deny my son his much-deserved happiness. He was in it before, but asked to be removed from his then current therapist because it wasn't helping him very much. He has asked for a younger therapist, one that has more shared interests, and one that specializes in transgender youth. We're working on it. I think if that goes smoothly, then we'll all be better off. My son has brought up family therapy, but my wife is very much against it. She doesn't really believe in all of that stuff. But I believe that we have full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
I believe we've got it all there.
I believe so.
And there is a little bit more to the story, but yeah, it's unfortunate that the wife is doing this. But OP, for yourself, you're definitely doing everything
You're doing
right.
great. And
Yeah.
I think I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure your kid just needs like a parent's approval. So I don't know if your wife necessarily has to sign off on it. Maybe
Yeah, I mean,
because
if
her
it's
insurance.
if
I
it's
don't
through your insurance, like I'm on my parents' insurance and
Yeah.
I've like gone to places without them.
know. Yeah,
And I
like,
just need their like the insurance card.
yeah, but OP's son is 17, so I think that if you went with your son and was like this, I think
Might
it
be
would
a
be
little different.
okay.
Yeah.
But I think regardless of what your wife wants, I think you are on the right track. Support your son.
Mm-hmm.
Support your son. Your son is 17. He's old enough to know that he wants to do this. Waiting until college is just going to be, denying him parts of who he is.
Exactly.
That's really tough. And I think it's going to kind of have the same impact regardless of when he does it. So let him be who he is.
Exactly. Thank you again to everyone who reached out and left helpful advice. I cannot thank you enough. If this ends up in one of those Reddit TikTok videos that I see my son watching when he's supposed to be doing homework, and if he sees this, I hope you know how much I love you and care about you. Please come talk to me anytime about anything. Seeing you happy is all I care about. Much love, Dad. And there is a helpful comment. HRT should happen during college. Why? Your son is 18 and you cannot make that choice for him. If you try to prevent him, he will resent you and you will lose him. Taking HRT during college is an excellent idea because it allows him to discover himself and also lets him experience socialization as a male. One of my close friends got an HRT during college and joined a fraternity. He learned the ins and outs of male socialization and helped a ton with his mental health. College is about self-discovery. Trying to hinder that and expecting your child to figure themselves out after they are being thrust into the real world is the worst idea ever. And OP comments, he's going to turn 18 this fall. He's a rising senior in high school, so it would be about a year before he starts college. I know his current goal is to get his first dose by March, as that's when his friends who are starting college this year will be visiting him, 2 of whom are also trans. And I'm honestly more open to him starting at home versus away, so at the very least, my wife and I can support him and get used to the changes. It all depends on what my wife thinks, but like I mentioned, he's a sneaky kid. He's gonna get it whether she wants him to or not. I'd rather him do it the safe and supervised way. And that is the end of that story. Wow.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Heck
Yeah. Yeah, so that sounds good. I mean, he was waiting till he was 18 to like do it, so I feel like it's gonna work out just like that comment had suggested.
I
So,
agree. Good job, OP.
woohoo. I discovered my boyfriend is married after I got pregnant.
Terrible timing.
My boyfriend, 33 male of almost 2 years, has essentially been living a double life. I'm 27 female, baffled as to how he pulled this off. When we met, he told me that he was on the tail end of a nasty, lengthy divorce, but that he had moved on and it would never pose an issue. And until now, he was right. It never had. Last week, I took a pregnancy test that came back positive, and yesterday morning, I had an OBGYN visit to confirm. I was honestly ecstatic. I've always wanted to be a mom, and my boyfriend felt the same. We talked about our future children many times, even though we haven't been together for the longest time. By the way, this comes from help me 197118718. I give up.
One.
If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I was really excited to tell him that night when he came over for dinner, but his reaction was weird.
Uh-oh.
His face went pale and he looked confused, not what I expected at all, and he got up to go to the bathroom. When he came back, he was really calm and really serious, and he told me that he was really afraid and didn't know how me and our baby would factor into his life, and he made the decision to come clean. Not only is he nowhere near being divorced from his wife, who he's been with for close to a decade, but they have 2 kids together, 4 and 6 years old.
He's already a parent.
I have no idea how I never had even a clue. He works a lot and really early, which is the reason he would rarely spend nights over. That being said, it's not like he hardly spent any time with me. I'm heartbroken and confused, and his confession left me with absolutely no idea what to do. I'm still pregnant with his 3rd child, and he's still very much married. He left right after that conversation, and I've called and texted, but the only response I've gotten is that he'll speak to me tomorrow night after work. His demeanor is so cold and unfamiliar that I'm terrified he's going to leave me to figure out this pregnancy on my own. Another part of me doesn't want him anymore. If he's this good of a liar, what else has he lied about? What else could he lie about? I also would hate to break up a family like this. I feel disgusted in this whole situation. I've never felt more alone and confused. Should I be preemptive and leave him, or are there other ways I could go about this? And there is a small update,
Girly.
but what do
Really?
we think?
No, there are no other ways you can go about this.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not breaking up a family. Second, leave him
Yeah.
and also get him to pay child support.
yeah, honestly.
That's the main thing. Leave him and then sue him.
But there is a small update. I think it's clear that I need to leave him, but that's about all that's clear for me right now. I want to be a mom, but these are the worst circumstances for that I can imagine. I'm trying to think of ways to contact his wife and can't think of any. I do believe I was at the house where they once lived at one point, but he has moved since then, allegedly, so I have no idea what the new address is. I can't seem to piece this together at all. I don't understand how I was fooled for so long. I think I'm still in shock. To recap, I am leaving. As much as I want to tell his wife, I have no way of doing that. I guess I'll wait until he speaks with me tomorrow. And there is a second small update. I found his wife through a website that someone
Nice.
sent me. Oh, wow. He wasn't lying when he said that he had no social media, but she does.
Ooh.
Seeing the pictures of them made me realize I cannot keep our child. His family is beautiful, and it breaks my heart to know that he could do this to them. I cannot have the father of my child be someone like him. I still have no idea how to tell his wife. I wanted to get this up as soon as possible because honestly, I never want to think about this again. I met with my ex this morning instead of after work because I guess neither of us could wait any longer to end this nightmare. I can't tell what's true and what isn't. All I know is my life has been pretty much torn to shreds. I went from confirming my pregnancy to this mess in basically no time at all. The last 24 hours have been the hardest of my life. Before I get into the conversation I had with my ex, I wanted to clear up a couple points that people keep bringing up. Yes, I've been to his house. I'll explain the quotations better. We both work a lot, and I never really minded never spending much time at his place. His story was that after his divorce, he was left with the house to himself, and he got some roommates. He was kind of touchy about the subject, but we talked about it once, and it had to do with feeling weird about having roommates in his 30s. He was allegedly in the process of selling the house after his roommates left, so we stopped going there often since it was semi-packed up. Made enough sense to me, and since I live alone, I always preferred him being in my place anyway. So no, I didn't spend 2 years not knowing where my boyfriend lived. I spent a year and 7 months simply spending more time at my place together. The second point is how I got pregnant in the first place. We didn't plan for a baby. We didn't try for a baby. We simply decided that if it happened, it happened.
Wait, I'm sorry. You decided beforehand? If
I
it
guess
happened,
so.
it happened. And then he was like, oh my God, a baby?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? And his mindset was, if it happens, it happens?
He had this whole mentality about living in the moment and happy accidents and such, supposedly due to how his marriage ended. So
Easy.
I stopped using birth control.
Crazy.
Come on, guys. Accidental pregnancies happen all the time. On to what you all came for. I spoke to my ex first over the phone and later outside of a coffee shop. I took y'all's advice to not be with him alone. I have no idea if any of what he told me was true, but I plan on never speaking to him again, so it's the closest truth I'll ever get. His demeanor was very odd. He looked almost close to tears, but his tone and what he was saying was cold and emotionless, and almost like he was debriefing me, not apologizing. And here is his story. His wife and him got married 10 years ago when she got pregnant. She was 18 at the time, and her family is very Christian, so they married while she was pregnant, and she eventually lost the child. Since then, he's felt trapped in his marriage, but couldn't bring himself to leave, as he describes his wife as a very sweet, innocent, and fragile person with very strong views on marriage and very high hopes for the relationship. After having their 2 kids, she became very focused on them, and he started to stray from his marriage at that point. He claims that it wasn't until he met me that he realized just how passed away his marriage
come
was.
Come on.
on.
Oldest excuse in the cheating book.
Come on. Being the coward he is, instead of leaving his wife, he decided to just start another life with me. Completely separately. This is where his lies started to get messy. He does have a job, but it turns out he works from home, so that's where he was when he was at the office. His coworkers/work friends I met are kind of like partners, but they're all independent and don't see each other too much, which is why he was okay introducing them to me. They had no idea about his wife. In hindsight, I was very stupid to never think about meeting more of his friends, but neither of us are extremely social. While with me, he would tell his wife that he was out with clients, running errands, or on business trips, all things he did legitimately have to do for his job. The house I visited wasn't his, which is why there was no sign of children. It's his brother's house. He works out of town a lot, so when I'd be over would be when my ex was house sitting. His story about moving in with roommates after his divorce, that's actually what happened to his brother. It was his brother that was in the process of selling his house after his roommates left, not him. So it turns out he does have family nearby. Gets more complicated, too much to type out, but his web of lies is very detailed and very well thought out, and unfortunately for everyone but him, very well executed. Somewhat through sheer dumb luck, but I'm 1000% sure he's had his practice living a double life. This could all be lies, but this next part is the strangest to me. He claims that when we had the conversation to stop birth control and have kids, he had a different conversation with himself. He decided that he was happier with me, and if a baby came along, that's when he would cut things off with his wife. But that makes no sense. Would he be cutting off his children too? Was he planning on ever telling me?
I don't think he was planning anything.
I don't think so either. He said that when that moment came and he found out that I'm pregnant, he felt unexpected panic and reconsidered his life and decided that he couldn't leave his family. I guess that explains the confusion on his face when I told him. He then came to the conclusion that the best course of action would be to end things with me and ask me to get a pregnancy termination, and we'd be on our merry ways and he could go back to his normal life. He still thinks that I have no way of knowing who his wife is and have no way of contacting her. Nope. I cannot in good conscience let this man continue to lie to his wife, who sounds completely clueless. I took the advice of one of you and recorded the conversation on my phone. It's a garbage recording, but there's just enough that's audible to keep as evidence. I'm going to spend some time compiling all I have and thinking of ways I could help her out of her disaster of a marriage, and then I will contact her. The reason I want to help is because I feel like I'm playing a part in the ending of her marriage, and I feel obligated to help if she'll allow me. I did not give him any indication that I'd be doing this. I told him I just wanted to never see him again and leave this in the past, which is true, but I want his wife to make the same decision. I'm sorry for the novel of an update. Thank you everyone for your love and support. I missed so many red flags about his friends, his family, home, everything, but I was blindly in love, and hindsight is 2020. So much of this still doesn't make sense and never will, and a part of me believes that his explanations and confessions are fabricated and the truth is a lot messier, but I'll never know, so I can't hold on to that. I'm considering moving to put this all behind me. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for your input and guidance. My brain is still such a mess and I'll take a long time to heal, but you guys have helped me go towards the right direction. There are some relevant comments. Woo! Jaybird says, I definitely agree that this is not the way to bring a child into the world. Your kid will eventually want to know about his father, and that will turn into a whole other can of worms that you probably don't want to have to deal with. However, you decide to reach out to the wife, make sure you're approaching it with empathy and not anger. Her 10-year marriage has been a lie, and I can't even imagine what it'll be like for her. Good luck, OP. Deleted says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Don't kid yourself that she's going to want your help, though. Odds are she will partly blame you for everything that he's done and will want nothing to do with you. She may even decide to stay with him even after knowing everything. You said she is from a Christian background, and they often put forgiveness above everything and stay married for the sake of the children, no matter how angry and unhappy they are. So don't be surprised if she blows up on you and defends him. PD Porkchop says, I'm 100% with you on all your choices, but saying you didn't plan for a baby and it was an accident while simultaneously saying I didn't use birth control and he didn't use a wiener wrapper is the dumbest thing I've read today.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not using any form of protection, what do you think is going to happen? And
Like-
you're a year into the relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to say that you can't have a baby a year into the relationship, but I do think
Sure.
that a lot of times people who have
Pretty early.
babies a year into the relationship are not necessarily planning that.
Yeah, exactly.
And this feels somewhat planned.
It's called an end NTNP, not trying, not preventing, and can be considered a method of trying to conceive. Update number 2. So, short update because I realized that it kind of seems like I left you guys hanging. First, I'd like to address that the pregnancy was not unexpected but not explicitly planned. Accidental was not the right word, but I'm aware of how babies are made. I was in a sense of trying to get pregnant, but only because my ex lied to me and convinced me he was on board. And I want to convince you to go to your favorite podcast app to find full stories and more episodes just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever you want, whatever you choose. We're on them all. Just search OK Storytime. I collected photographs, videos, screenshots of texts, and everything I could find as evidence to show my ex's wife. I tried to find texts in which he referenced being divorced or just any lies to prove that I'm not at fault, but I heeded y'all's warnings to not try and help her or push her too far, since I don't know how she'd receive these news. I simply found her on social media, sent her all the pictures and screenshots, and a short rundown of what her husband has been doing for 2 years. It took a day for her to respond, but all she said was thank you. And once I saw that, I blocked her. I have not heard from anyone, and I hope to never have to hear or think about this situation again. Behind me. I have no idea what happened with my ex and his wife, and I probably never will. Thank you guys for your support. That's the end of that story.
And there you go.
Dang.
It does seem like OP did. I like that. I think it was her decision. So, that's your decision.
Yeah.
That's good.
My partner dislikes my eldest child, and it made me resent him.
Well, I dislike him.
Ooh.
The child?
I, 35 female, have 2 daughters, 15 and 11, from my previous marriage, and I've been seeing my partner, 32 male, for almost 3 years, living together for just over 1 year. He seemed to hit it off immediately with my kids, and we spent a lot of time together on family outings initially. He has no children of his own, and he seemed to take to being a father figure quite well. By the way, this comes from user deleted. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, because things started off so well, it took me a while to notice the cracks appearing in his facade. When we started our relationship, I set only 3 boundaries. Do not discipline my kids without discussing it with me first. Do not talk trash about the kid's father in front of them, and manage your anger.
I think those are pretty good rules.
Yeah. These boundaries were primarily due to domestic issues with the children's father and my desire to keep my children feeling safe and happy. Slowly but surely, my current partner has slowly been whittling away at these boundaries, getting angry, shouting and swearing at the slightest inconvenience, telling me I'm allowed to be angry
That is
if I ask him to calm down.
frustrating. You are allowed to be angry, but there are ways, especially around children, that you should not be expressing your anger in. And that is definitely not shouting or swearing at children or around children. We should not be doing that.
He talks down about my ex constantly in front of my kids, and he thinks it's funny. We also have a significant disconnect between our approach to discipline for the kids. And when I've tried to explain to him the approach I've been trying to take with the kids, he's called it BS and told me that he doesn't need someone telling him how to be a parent. Hey, so you should leave. He should be gone now.
It's so funny because he's not a parent.
So as soon as he goes, hey, you don't get to tell me how to parent your children, that's when he's gone now. Goodbye.
The thing is that you set those boundaries and now you have to enforce them. One, and if he's not going to listen to them, then you have to say, oh, he's crossing my boundaries. What are the consequences? I leave.
Not in relationship with you anymore.
Yeah.
He has subsequently continued to try to control the disciplining of the children, but when I've told him that he needs to stop, he claims he isn't doing anything of the sort and demands I provide him with examples of what he's doing. Recently, he's told me that he thinks that I'm a crappy parent, that my kids are running wild, and that he won't be helping me out around the house with any mess they make because they're not his problem. He says that my kids will grow up to be failures as adults because they aren't disciplined enough. His argument is that if I won't let him discipline them, he doesn't care about them. My kids have recently been diagnosed with ADHD and suspected ASD, and he's also referred to them as R slurs. Every time. Yeah, come on. Like, what are we talking about?
The second that someone says that to my kids, they're gone. They're gone.
What are we doing?
We
need to...
OP, come on.
Guys, lesson here is we have to have respect for ourselves and respect for our kids and like respect for the boundaries that we set with people when they like...
This is easy.
He's not just crossing the boundary, he's like... He's hawking a fat loogie on it and then he's setting it on fire.
Those boundaries.
And then he's throwing it in the ocean with a dozen car batteries.
Yeah, this is now on you, OP. You have set boundaries that are being crossed. It's your turn. Like, the ball's in your court. You got to protect your kids.
Yeah, 100%. Every time I try to talk to him about their issues, he says I'm making up excuses, and I never accept that they're at fault for anything, even though he was with me through the diagnostic process for ADHD and agreed that both of my children experience issues. He's also specified that he doesn't have an issue with my youngest child, only the oldest. This is probably because my oldest has been standing up to my partner more and more in recent months, piping up whenever we are in an argument or just lashing out at him whenever he complains about something she's done. Yeah, I bet you she's lashing out at him because I bet you he talks to you the same way he's talking about these kids.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If your children have to defend themselves to your partner, then you are failing as a parent. You are not protecting them. You brought this person into their lives. You have to make sure that they are going to be a good influence and a good person, because he's not.
My partner gets angry when my oldest speaks up because he feels like I should reprimand her in front of him. But I prefer to talk to her quietly one-on-one and work out why she's doing it. Even though I tell him I've had these discussions with her, it's unacceptable to him. My eldest daughter has told me that she hates my partner because in her eyes, he's just as bad as her father, and she hates her father's behavior, but feels compelled to put up with it because he is her father. I've tried telling my partner that he needs to sit down with my kids and try to repair the relationship, but he says that because I never have to put any effort into my relationship with my kids, he shouldn't have to either. What? He doesn't think that you having a one-on-one conversation with your kid is effort? That
I just don't understand.
Guys, sometimes we have to leave people.
Leave.
And by leave, we have to kick them out of our house.
Like, I don't understand. You go to your daughter and ask her why she's doing this? Because your partner is not a good guy.
Yeah. Despite all his nasty comments, he still claims that he loves my kids because words are so cheap. But I feel like every time I bring up this conflict with him, he flips it back around on me and makes it my fault. And now he has made out to his family that my daughters are nasty and disrespectful to him, and he's just an innocent victim. My daughters are my number one priority. Are you sure about that?
No, they're not.
So knowing that even one of them is unhappy has me feeling unhappy and resentful towards him as well. And I can't seem to reach a resolution with him at all. I told him he's an adult, so he needs to be the one putting in the work to fix things, but he refuses. And no matter what he's said or done, he will not apologize to me or my kids for anything. Even when they overheard his slur comment, he downplayed it, said he wasn't talking loudly enough for them to hear it. Is there another way that I could approach this situation? He claims he would happily go to counseling, but he's made no effort to organize any, and later told me he can't wait for the counselor to tell me how wrong I am about everything.
Oh boy. Oh boy, I can't wait.
Oh God. Oh my God. Wait. What's the solution? What do we do? Oh my God. What should we do?
Divorce.
Leave him.
Leave. Bye. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Let it stand right in the path of the door. I want your face in the path of the door, please. Thank you.
I want to hit your butt, and I want it to skip you like a stone.
Oh, is that your face or your butt? I can't tell. Boom. Because you're a real butthead.
Yeah.
So here's the update. So he finally left for good. His family won't let him come back because they deem it to be a toxic relationship with both of us at fault. Which honestly, in a way, yeah.
Good. I mean, best case scenario. Well, not best case scenario, but like a good case scenario. They took him away, got him out of there, so you don't have to deal with them.
The crap show unfolded gradually since my last post, and right until the end, he still refused to apologize for calling my kids names because he felt he shouldn't have to. He said his relationship with them was fine and tried interrogating my youngest about why she didn't like him. She was understandably reluctant at first, but honest, and ultimately said that there were lots of things about him she didn't like, but couldn't find the words to explain it. He never bothered asking my oldest and never sat down with either of them to discuss his relationship with them. He made it out like unless I had specific examples of everything he had done wrong with my kids, it was all BS, and he had never done anything wrong to them to make them dislike him. About a week before he left, he gave me a half-hearted apology because I told him I didn't feel like I could have spicy sleep with him anymore after everything that had gone on. He only apologized because he wanted to do the horizontal tango and thought that he could convince me to give it to him if he did that. Well, that didn't work. He threw a tantrum like a little boy. Little baby. He told his family that he was afraid to talk to me about our problems because I always turned it around on him and refused to accept any blame. He told me that I should have approached him to discuss the issues, but every time we did discuss the issues, it was because he wanted spicy sleep. I was told by his family that I should have met with him halfway with my boundaries, and I should have abided by his. He then told his family that he was never allowed to tell my kids to do anything, when in actual reality, I told him he was welcome to as long as he approached it in an agreeable manner. He dismissed my views on parenting as BS, and since we weren't on the same page with our views, I wasn't comfortable with his approach. I let him try things his way on occasion, but it didn't work, which of course was my fault. He basically got everything he wanted. He never put any boundaries in place except for asking me not to talk to other men. He once stopped me from going on a girls' night out with a friend because our relationship wasn't strong enough.
I mean, that's certainly true. Your relationship is trash.
Well, it's like, look, buyer beware.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship with somebody and they start showing you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Listen to them.
Leave them,
Leave.
man.
There should have been literally a
you can't
5-minute delay between him slurring your children
and then you're like, get out,
and him being out of your life.
Yeah. I don't know
5
why.
minutes.
I don't know why we. And you're not only did he say that, your kids heard him say that.
Right. Which is an even crazier layer.
Yeah.
And that's like a. And then it's like, hey, kids, you know why he's gone? Because I love you most.
I love you.
And I care about you most. If he doesn't care about you, he's gone.
Gone.
As if I had some kind of track record of being unfaithful. He also made me promise at the beginning that we were not allowed to discuss our relationship with friends or family. Huh. Great. I did break that promise when his behavior was becoming intolerable, and he was mad as heck when I did. Yeah,
Okay.
because that's a standard.
Wait.
If your partner ever tells you you're not allowed to talk about our relationship with your family, leave them. I told him he was welcome to discuss our relationship with his friends as well. I never cheated or stayed. I rarely talked to other men because of him, but constantly endured his jokes about just about every man I ever met wanting to sleep with me. Every time we went out, he told me that men were staring at me, and if my clothes showed too much cleavage, he'd tell me I wasn't allowed to bend down until we got home. He also talked about applying for a job at my workplace so we could work together. What is this? This guy just wants
He wants to literally monitor you at all times.
He wants a pet. He wants to turn you into a bee.
Wants you to be a bee.
He told me his family thought I was manipulative. And he told me that I was the reason my ex was so harmful multiple times. He had me second guessing myself for a while, hence my prior post. He made more threats on his way out, sending me messages saying that he would drag me through court, etc., and demanded access to the house we owned together as it was his right. I told him if he's moving out and removing his belongings, then he has no reason to access the house anymore. He still told me he had a right to have access to the house, so I told him I'd be pursuing a restraining order. He backed off after this, but I've been put on notice if I pursue a restraining order, there will be lawyers involved. I'm sure if he doesn't get his way, this will be the case regardless. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this, regardless of where you are, as long as you have access to a connection to the internet. And you can use that internet access to go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime, the name of our show.
It's true.
There you will find over 2,000 episodes to listen to. And you can listen to them at whatever pace you want. There is a little bit of story left, Sophia. It's are you getting the restraining order?
I mean, if we need a, but I don't know if we need to.
Honestly, I bet you if you illustrate this case to a lawyer, you'd find someone who'd be like, I'd do this pro bono because this guy's going down.
Yeah.
I've decided to stay single for the foreseeable future. Though my kids have asked me if I'd consider dating other men I've been involved with in the past, I've explained that it's just not an option. I know they want me to be happy, and I think I'm happiest alone. We have ongoing counseling and support, and we are all relieved that he's finally gone. I just wanted to thank everyone who helped me with my last post. I needed reassurance to be able to break the stranglehold. And that is the end of that story. Woo! Yeah.
There you have it.
Let that be a cautionary tale to all who have heard it. Don't let your partner isolate you. Don't let your partner
talk bad about your kids.
If you set hard boundaries,
keep them hard,
and your partner just like obliterates them without a second thought, that means consequences need to happen.
It's true. You can't just let your boundaries be all willy-nilly, or everyone's going to know that you don't have strong boundaries.
Yeah.
And they're going to walk all over you and your boundaries.
Don't get walked all over.
And you want to be a good role model for your kids.
Exactly. Don't show them that this is a relationship that's okay.
Exactly.
You're a role model. My friends secretly planned a party without anyone inviting me.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
I've been part of a friendship group since I was 13. I'm nearly 33 now. Wow.
Wow.
There are 7 us in total. While some are closer to each other than others, we've kept a group chat going for years. I've always seen them as my oldest and my most meaningful friends, the kind you assume will be in your life forever. By the way, this comes from Chaotic Pumpkins, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, this weekend, I opened Instagram and saw that 5 of the girls had gone on a long weekend hen do for one of the group's weddings.
Uh-oh.
I had absolutely no idea it was happening. No invite, no heads up, no mention at all. The only other one not there has 2 kids, so I assumed she couldn't go, but I was simply excluded. The whole thing was planned behind my back. To be clear, I know I haven't been the most active in the group chat recently. I've been doing a PhD, and I even gave them a heads up a few years ago that I'd be less present for a while. But I still showed up when it mattered. I traveled across the country for everyone's 30th birthdays, and I've always backed them even from a distance. What's hurt the most isn't just missing the hen, it's the silence. Not one person said, "Hey, just so you know," or gave me a chance to understand. It just carried on like everything was normal. After finding out, I spoke to 2 of the girls, my closest friends. They were shocked I wasn't included and admitted they were confused by the bride's, Rachel's, decision. They told me there hadn't been any falling out or issue from me, and they were really upset to see how hurt I was. When I said I was thinking of leaving the group chat and cutting ties completely, unfollowing everyone, stepping back, they got really emotional and said they didn't want me to go, and that felt extreme. But honestly, I don't know if I can stay. I feel humiliated, like a spare part in a friendship I thought I was still part of. The trust feels broken. Part of me wants to just walk away quietly, not to punish anyone, but to protect myself and give myself the dignity of closure. The other part of me is scared I'll look like the dramatic one or regret walking away from 20 years of history. So would I be the a-hole if I cut them all off after this, or should I just distance myself from the bride, since it sounds like she made the final decision? Talk to her first. There's some relevant comments and an update. Talk to her first.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Like, let's talk to the bride. Let's find out what happened. Maybe she'll say, I just didn't really think that we were that close. And then you like have your answer. But I don't know if we necessarily need to like punish everyone.
Is the bride one of the friends?
Yeah.
Listen, you guys. You've been friends in a big group of people.
Yeah.
20 freaking years.
Yeah.
Yes, this hurts.
Yeah,
yes, that sucks to
absolutely.
be excluded from a group of 7 people.
But 7
that
people.
sucks. 7 people. This stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If you've been friends for 20 years, you can talk about problems.
You can have a 20-minute conversation.
You can literally
20 years at least equals a 20-minute
you
conversation.
can chit chat about
Let's
this.
have a chit chat. Say, hey, I mean, like, I understand it's your wedding.
Like, I doubt this is the only problem that has come up.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. That's just
It does feel dramatic to completely cut her off without even talking to her. Relevant comments, Slinky Malinky. Sounds like you've not been around for a few years at this point. Your example of showing up was at when everyone turned 30 and you're now almost 33. You also told them you won't be available for years. I don't see this as you being excluded so much as either the bride following what she thought you set up as the perimeters. You weren't going to be around or available, or the bride matching your energy. You don't put anything in. Don't expect others to. Like, I understand why she's upset. To be clear, like, I don't think that she's in the wrong for being upset, but like, I think this is a conversation, not just I'm gonna
not just like
F off and
yeah,
never see anyone again.
just disappearing.
I've had very busy professional and personal times with school, work, kids, but I never told people, hey, count me out for years. Yeah, but when you get older, I mean, friendships
Get busy.
adjust, especially with 7 people.
Yeah.
That you did seems to be your choice, which is yours to make. But it seems like talking out of both sides of your mouth to make that choice and then act shocked and betrayed when the others respected your boundary. I'm guessing it's a big misunderstanding that can be resolved by a phone call. Not one to make the bride feel guilty or cause drama, but just to say, I saw you all went away and I hope you all had a blast. I'm coming out of the weeds with school now and would love to join you all again going forward. Opie says, yes, this does sound like I said goodbye for a few years. So instead of seeing them every few months, it was more like twice a year. That's a big change.
Yeah.
We are all based in different cities. I do take some responsibility for this, but I will say I think being excluded from this event is a step too far for me. But definitely doing some thinking to work on this. Thank you for the advice. I am still thinking the bride knew that this would cause a huge problem, and I need to understand if this was with bad intent, cowardice, or some other reason. She was aware this would cause a problem, which is why you talk to her. And if you find out that she's, sucky and did it because she wants to cause drama, then,
Yeah, then that's a
it's like,
problem.
oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to be
Sure.
around this person.
Give her a chance.
yeah.
You're 33.
Maybe a group message is a good shout. Thank you. Strong conclusion says it's not only the non-invite, but the fact no one told you. You had to find out via social media. Are you invited to the wedding? Either way, I take a step back from everyone, even the 2 closest friends. Why didn't they tell you? Why I keep it a secret? Opie says, this is exactly the main struggle. They have openly said they knew I would be upset and think that's a big part why they couldn't tell me beforehand. I believe I am invited to the wedding, but she's not sent the invites out yet. I have told the 2 of them I need a bit of time away and that I'm still in my gut reaction phase. They have apologized a lot, and one started crying when she thought I was cutting her off. So after this, I really don't want to do this with these 2, but we definitely have things to work on. Yeah, I don't think we have to cut them off.
This is dramatic
It
as
feels
frick.
super,
I don't like
super
it.
dramatic. Like, these girls are apologizing and saying, like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't their decision.
yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe they should have told you, but again, like,
But, like,
they didn't really have a say in whether or not you were invited. It
yeah,
wasn't
like
their
that would just
event.
be starting drama on their behalf of
Yeah.
being like, oh, by the way, this person didn't invite you.
I
to
wouldn't
this.
tell a mutual friend that another mutual friend didn't invite them to a party.
No,
I just like,
no.
I don't like, maybe you guys have different feelings. I'm like thinking of this and I'm like, if I knew that my friend wasn't invited to a party,
No.
I'd be like, I would maybe talk to the bride and say, hey, like, why didn't you invite her or something? I
Yeah.
would get information, but I don't think I would immediately be like, girl, you weren't invited to this party.
And all of this like turmoil that OP is in right now, it's like, just talk to them.
Yeah.
Just talk to them. That all
Yeah.
of your questions will be answered.
Yeah. Folding it up, what is the DOD? Didn't the innocent friend read the email and text numbers? Did anyone ask, hey, why isn't Susie coming? You are justified in feeling terribly hurt, which I still agree with this.
Sure.
You would not be considered nail if you didn't want to continue the group relationship. Opie says they did say that to each other, but never as a whole group. They felt bad about it, but felt they couldn't do much about it. Disastrous Gate says BS. After 20 years of friendship, they couldn't do anything. Not even so much as ask their other 20-year-long friend, bride host, why. I think they could have done that.
Yeah,
agree
I
with
think
that.
they definitely could have talked about it.
Yeah. These are the weak excuses of backboneless people. And I'm so sorry they treated you like this. I wouldn't feel like I want to be friends with people that treat me this way. OP says, I have reminded them over the past couple of years, but absolutely agree I should have been more communicative. I didn't go into the nitty gritty in this post as I wanted to be brief. For more context, after speaking to my 2 friends, they were chatting about the fact I wasn't invited for months before the event.
Oh.
It was very conscious and discussed a lot, but usually only between 2 or 3 people at a time, apparently. I asked them both the question, what do you think my reaction would be when I found this out? And they both said absolutely devastated. More than anything, it's the fact that they didn't tell me or talk to the bride about the repercussions of this on what I thought was a tight-knit group. Oh, and absolutely feeling a little low as I'm in my final year, so taking that into account. But I also thought they may have taken it into account as well. Waiting a week to decide what to do, but appreciate the direct comments. Thinking it may just be the bride I need to have a proper chat with and possibly ending a friendship. Yes! That's what I'm, like, my point. I don't know if this is clear because I'm sleep deprived. My point is not that you cannot end this friendship. That is not my point.
Yeah.
Friendships come and go. Sometimes you have a 20-year friendship and then you realize this person is no longer as close to you as you thought they were. My
Yep.
point is, because you've had a 20-year friendship, let's have a little chat before we end it all. Don't just go AWOL.
Absolutely.
The bride made the decision. Go talk to her. Update. Since posting, I've spoken to few people who know the group and situation well. Every single one of them was surprised, and most were very clear. I should cut off the bride and possibly the others too, just to add some more context. I was a lot quieter about a year ago. I was doing my PhD and also going through a tough time in my personal life. dealing with some serious issues involving self-harm and regular use. They all knew about this and had offered words of support. Over the last 6 months or so, I started chatting to them a bit more again. Things felt pretty normal. I had a phone call with the bride where she asked for wedding advice, and we also had a proper catch-up. I saw 3 of the others from the group in person not long after. What makes this all harder to process is knowing that during these moments when we were catching up and everything seemed fine, they already knew about the hen weekend and didn't say a word. Since posting, I've quietly removed myself from the group chat and taken the bride off socials. She did message me saying she heard I was upset and was happy to chat, but to be honest, it felt more like damage control. If she wanted to talk honestly, there were plenty of chances to do that. Just do it. Please, just talk to her.
She hasn't done it yet. Let me talk to her. Let me talk to this bride.
Let me talk to her. At this point, I've tried to understand why she would do this, and the only explanations I can land on are she deliberately didn't want me there and didn't have the decency to be upfront about it. She felt awkward and avoided the situation entirely. Or she didn't realize how hurtful it would be, though I find that hard to believe. Whatever the reason, it's caused a rift with some of my most important friendships and put us all in an incredibly uncomfortable situation.
Shut up. I'm sorry. Shut your mouth.
I could be misinterpreting the story, but it feels like there's a giant lack of communication.
But saying whatever the reason,
Yeah.
I feel like we get it. I feel like we know the reason. It's dramatics. Everything is too dramatic. It's too dramatic. These people. Everyone calm down. It's fine. It's okay.
It's made it clear that this isn't the kind of friendship I want to keep in my life. 2 of the others still haven't acknowledged anything. I haven't removed them yet. I'm just keeping my distance and taking time to process. By the way, you can process with us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left of the story.
If this doesn't end with her freaking talking to the freaking bride,
I feel like she's going to be like, I just don't understand why she did this. And I guess there's no way I ever will. And I'm going to be upset. This whole thing has been a sharp wake-up call. I thought things were back on solid ground. Clearly, they weren't. Thanks again to everyone who took the time to comment. It really helped me get clear and act from a place that felt calm, not reactive. Relevant/final comments. Lyndon, Lil Blue Balls. Not the ale. You don't have to cut them off completely, but maybe just quiet quit. This is bad advice. Don't make any effort if you aren't getting reciprocal effort. Put the group chat on D&D and only reply to texts sent directly to you. Only answer calls. Don't make them. Check in on yourself in a month. Are you happier than before? Are they making more of an effort to include you? Have any of the others even noticed you step back?
Yeah, go ahead and put them on D&D. Go ahead and give them some good dice. And
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, turn them on to that.
Yeah.
They can start, make some fun characters.
Yeah.
And they have to see each other because you have to finish your campaign.
So after a bit of thinking, OP says, I have taken myself out of the group chat and don't think I can forgive the bride. I'm not making a big song and dance about it, but taking myself away from the situation and people involved. Those who want to remain in my life will let me know. I mean, they've 2 of them have already let you know.
Gross.
2 of them have already let you know.
OP, you're being gross right now.
One of the gals I spoke to has messaged me several times organizing a catch-up for this weekend and is planning to come visit. These questions to ask myself are really helpful. Thank you. I feel like after this, there may be a couple of friends left from this group, but I've decided to focus on other friendships for the moment. And there you go. Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead, you silly goose.
It's totally fine if you don't want to be friends with the people, but one combo, just one for 20 years, 20 minutes for 20 years.
I refused to share my house with my sister-in-law.
Share it with your brother-in-law.
My female 29 boyfriend, Albert, male 35, and I had a great relationship until his family moved closer to us. I haven't seen a more toxic or entangled family connection. It seems like every ex and their mother is an enemy. Every ex-boss had it out for them. Every friend should help out more and more. Everyone should take their verbal abuse. After a few run-ins, I cut mother-in-law off. By the way, this comes from user own information 9030. 13. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. His sister, female 37, is in the habit of showing up at dinner time. She has 2 kids, 7 female, 9 male, that she always brings along. I didn't mind sharing a meal, but I hated her dropping by without a warning. Albert never took action, and this created problems. Sister-in-law has an unbearable parenting style. They are good kids, but she overindulges them and lets too many things slide as they're just kids. So they interject in adult conversations, have crying fits when told no, and are prone to grabbing and touching and taking objects without permission. So they took things around the house. Cupboard items, sculptures, small sculptures, my stash of hotel toiletries, my hair extensions, just to play with. That's all they wanted, is to play.
Took the hair extension.
And had me going crazy trying to find them later. Fast forward, and her son, who has anxiety, had a small crisis from opening our kitchen drawer and grabbing some poppets or party snaps. Some fell and popped really loud, and he cried because he was embarrassed. I did not offer comfort because that would be indulging his snoopy behavior. I stayed quiet and asked Albert to talk to his sister, which I'm sure he didn't. I'm not happy in my relationship. I don't have privacy. His sister keeps showing up despite being told by myself that she can't keep showing up uninvited. I'm sick of having to hide things that I think her kids could get their hands on. I recently put a lock on my home office door because I suspect that sister-in-law has been using my copy machine while I'm out. I work both at home and at 2 client sites and have been getting home after 8 p.m. I'm sick of being tense and dreading her visits because he lets her eat through our groceries like she has a right to do so. He has called me selfish and greedy. I thought he would be more considerate now that they gave him fewer hours at work, and his pay cut has caused me to pay for most of our bills. Sister-in-law is a nail tech and a hairstylist. She was also a teacher at a beauty academy until she had her kids. Now she won't do anything but badmouth her ex and complain about how hard life is. She has a place to live with access to food and her own car. I'm thinking that she may be doing this on purpose. Last Friday, Albert went bowling with friends. I told him that I wanted a very quiet evening and didn't want to be bothered. I got home around 7 p.m. and sat down to eat my seafood boil. Sister-in-law showed up asking for her daughter's backpack that she left behind. I was annoyed. I tried to rush to get it, but her son saw the crab legs and started insisting. I said I was sorry, but that's my dinner. So he started crying, stomping, and repeatedly asking his mom for my food. I said I was sorry and quickly showed them out. To my aggravation, they didn't leave immediately. He cried outside for about 5 minutes while sister-in-law sat inside her car trying to convince him to get in. I pulled down the shutters and tried to ignore them, which is your move. That's your
parent your
move.
kid.
That's so funny. Opie's
Yeah.
just inside, windows shut, kid screaming, and she's eating crab legs.
Okay, but funnier is before she puts the blind down too. She's just looking at the kid that wants the
Eating
crab
the
legs, and she's just eating her crab legs,
like,
and then slowly just grabs it, looking at the kid.
When Albert got back, his face had a bitter expression. He said that he was extremely disgusted about the way that I treated his family. He has stopped talking to me. It's been a few days and I'm still getting the silent treatment. Cried a few times, especially because he's been texting me despite us being physically next to each other.
Oh my god, your husband sucks.
Sister-in-law showed up yesterday, but he wasn't home yet, so I didn't let her in. I'm angry and defeated, and I'm coming to the conclusion that I need to end the relationship
Yeah.
because he texted me that I need to apologize to sister-in-law. I didn't want things to end between us, but I feel like they are trying to walk all over me. This is so surreal. We had planned on a cozy Christmas together months ago when things were good. I'm not trying to ruin his life. Right now, his finances aren't great, and my salary makes a huge difference. I just don't want to be made to feel like his family can get away with what they're doing, and I hold resentment. I texted him about how I feel and how incredibly selfish he is to be comfortable giving to his sister with what my hard work can buy, but can't think to respect my boundary. Am I the a-hole if I leave? I feel like somehow I'm the failure for not being willing to fight for our relationship. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to send advice. Can't answer all the replies, but I've done my best to read as many as possible. There were solutions I hadn't even thought about. My best friend was super helpful. She dropped everything to make me phone calls, to get things moving, packing, scouting everywhere just in case something could be left behind. So grateful for her presence in my life. Not only did she get involved, she helped me not panic. We were able to remove everything inside my home office without too much trouble because everything had already been packed and the door was locked, so we had no way of knowing. We made it easier on the movers by confining as much of my other stuff to an area. I took only what I owned. When I moved in with him, he had some furniture that he put inside the garage because he liked mine better. He sold it when he needed the money, but that doesn't mean that he won't have anything to sit on. I didn't have any trouble getting everything out. I settled things with the landlord, took pictures as evidence of how I left the place. I did let the landlord in at his request for a quick inspection and to hand over the key. Everything is in a storage unit except for my work documents that I shipped to my family's mailing address via private courier since I'll be there for the holidays. I didn't feel comfortable leaving those at the storage unit or my hotel room. I hope I can find a co-working space, but I haven't found a spot that doesn't force me into a long-term contract, and I'll be away until January. My best friend offered me her place to stay, but as much as I'm grateful, I really need to be alone. I'm planning on giving her an extra nice Christmas/thank you gift because honestly, she has been my rock. I was able to cancel the utilities in my name and to take my name off other bills. He's already been deleted from all the subscriptions and passwords have been changed. I followed the advice and canceled or requested new credit cards, changed banks, and removed him from the grocery accounts, the pharmacy accounts, etc., etc. I did get a new mail address from a small business center from out of town. I'll be staying at a hotel for the time being until I go see my family for the holidays, but I'm looking for a new place, preferably out of town, to avoid seeing him. He didn't call me until 5 p.m.
Okay, wait, yeah. Before we find out, I
Yeah.
don't think she told him.
No, she didn't.
Okay.
No, she
So
did.
they're not broken up
just-
technically.
No, I mean,
yet. They're about to.
clearly
I mean, they are.
they are,
but
but-
he doesn't know yet.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up, but he kept blowing up my phone, so I texted him that we were done and to never call me again. He sent me voice messages, many of them so negative that I just didn't want to fully listen to them because it made me really anxious. He insisted that I should at least return the sofa, but it's my sofa. He offered to pay for it, but that's BS. I blocked him everywhere. So that's basically it. At least he didn't get home while I was moving. From all he said, I was mostly irritated by his insistence in twisting things to his favor. Saying things like, he wanted us to get married, but I showed him who I am. It made me want to call him and yell at him, but I didn't. I've simply blocked everyone and their mother, including Tim. Folks, this is how you do it. And by the way, we will never block you from listening to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, any podcast platform your pretty little head can think of. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to our entire archive. So many stories, it's going to make your head explode. I don't want to change my number for now because I do run a small business, and I don't want him to keep affecting me. I'm trying to get my mind off him because despite everything, he was someone that I loved, and I'm still coming to terms with the feeling of being disposable, at least when it came to his family. I know that I need to work on myself and to at least understand why this happened, but right now, my feelings are very hurt and I want to avoid nitpicking on whys and the reasons because I feel used and I'm ashamed to admit it. Thanks again. I understand it as story. You don't have to feel ashamed, OP.
No, you did. You moved perfectly.
Yeah, you did it.
You had everything said.
You did the thing.
My mother-in-law claims to be a loving grandmother, but refuses to make any efforts.
Make effort.
My husband and I had our baby 4 months ago, and she was born 2 months early, so she's only been home for a little over 2 months. I have a whole horde of medical issues because I went through 2.5 years of chemo for leukemia, but was able to get pregnant a year after my last chemo. Wow, that seems impressive. That doesn't happen for everyone.
Yes.
But I got preeclampsia, which landed me in the hospital for a week before delivery and progressed to HELLP. This kept me in the hospital for a week after delivery. By the way, this comes from the Primeval Pixie Dust. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my mom flew in 6 hours before I delivered, and I'm so happy she did because she took care of me with my husband through my and she's so dialed into my needs that she knows what I need before I even know what I need. During my time in the hospital, my in-laws were all up in my grill and space, and they were especially so after I gave birth. And I mean my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law. Get the whole family involved.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. I have no issues with my brother-in-law or sister-in-law because they took care of me a lot during chemo, and they are like my mom in that they always seem to know what I need before even I do. My sister-in-law is top tier when it comes to bringing over snacks and beverages. I seriously don't know how she always knows what kind of food I like, but she just does. That's a good friend right
We
there.
like that. We like that. That's a good thing.
My brother-in-law is a doctor and helped so much during my cancer treatment and during my labor too. He always brings food whenever he comes over, and he's always wanting to hang out and help with baby and do chores around the house. Now, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are nice people, but it's a fake nice. Like, they are nice people, but they never go out of their way to help anyone. It seriously ticks off my husband because they've dropped the ball for him and me so many times that he doesn't trust them to come through for anything anymore. During the pregnancy, mother-in-law referred to our daughter as our baby, as in hers too, and my husband immediately called her out and said, No, she's OPing my baby and your grandbaby. I know she's excited to be a grandma, but we had to set some boundaries before she started referring to herself as mom to our daughter, which was somewhat starting to show. Now, back to the hospital, my husband told them multiple times that they needed to text before just showing up to my room, and a few times my mother-in-law and father-in-law showed up as I was pumping, or right before I was about to shower, or right as I was getting examined to deliver. Worst timing. Wow. He finally said that he would remove them from the approved visitor list if they didn't text or call first. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law always called first. Right as I was about to give birth,
Oh, no.
staff and my husband had to punt them out of the room so I didn't have to have them in there.
Oh, my God.
They just know the worst timing for everything. Oh, my goodness.
When I'm like this on the delivery table,
Yeah.
I don't want you in there.
It's a sign. Gotta stay out.
Get out.
Gotta stay out, man.
I'm delivering.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. I don't want you to see that.
Nope.
You gotta get out of there.
Yep.
And right after I gave birth, my mother and father-in-law followed the NICU staff to see the baby, and they touched her, which we told them not to do, so we were pissed. Now, during baby's time in hospital, they were willing to drive 30 minutes every day to see the baby in NICU, and we told staff that only my husband and I can hold the baby until we're ready for others. My mom stayed with us for almost 3 weeks and helped us so much. Cooking, cleaning, getting stuff for me to make my recovery easier. She would even wake up in the night too to get me water and snacks while I pumped.
Nice.
So after a week of her being there, we agreed that she deserved to be the first non-parent person to hold the baby. We didn't tell mother-in-law because we felt that she didn't really deserve or need to be in the know about it. After another few weeks, we let mother-in-law and father-in-law hold the baby while we were there and made sure to tell the staff and the in-laws that they could only hold the baby if one of us was present. A couple of nurses slipped through the cracks when it came to that info, and mother-in-law got away with holding her when I wasn't there. My mother-in-law would literally call me every morning to tell me how baby was, and a few times let it slip that she got to hold her. Wow, mother-in-law is updating the mom of the baby how her baby is doing. Not what we want to hear.
Nope.
When we set these boundaries already.
That's correct.
Again, rule broken, and we were ticked. Also, she didn't need to give me a play-by-play because I was at the NICU every day as well. This is like, it's not mansplaining anymore. This is mother-in-law splaining. This is a new.
We have to. This must be a
thing.
term.
This has to be.
We have
it-
mansplaining. It's been established. We need mother-in-law splaining.
splaining.
Call it mill splaining.
Mill
Splaining.
splaining. We
There
need
we go.
mill splaining.
Mill splaining. Boom. Coined by me.
Good stuff.
But anyway. Well,
Dakota angry.
on the day that baby girl came home, my husband unfortunately couldn't be there because he had a final exam that day that he could not miss for a class that started long before I got pregnant. I wasn't upset by it. I just wanted baby home. My mom had already returned home by that point because she had to return to her work because she was on a big project. So all of my in-laws said that they would be there with me. Fine. Whatever. At our hospital, they have you stay overnight as inpatient with babies, so staff can check on you throughout the night to make sure that everything goes well. I got to stay in the wing where I received chemo, so it was kind of like a full circle where the staff that saved me got to see me be a mom. Oh my gosh. That's so special.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I freaking love that.
Well, on the morning of discharge, my in-laws are all in the room with me, and I'm fully packed up and ready to go. My mother-in-law rushes into the back seat of my car to make sure that she's sitting next to baby. My sister-in-law is in the front with me. My brother-in-law and father-in-law are in separate cars following behind. We get back to my house, and my mother-in-law keeps trying to take the car seat until I stop her and tell her to cool it until I can introduce baby to the cats. We get inside. Cats are cool and aloof, so I decide that the in-laws can hold the baby while I put stuff away. I spent hours doing chores and tasks around the house, and not once did mother-in-law or father-in-law offer to help. Just fawning over baby, which is good, but only one at a time can hold her, so you can freaking help me. My
Yup.
brother-in-law and sister-in-law helped me organize my milk from the NICU and got me lunch. Also, when I needed to feed her, she just kept telling me that she can just give her the bottle. I repeatedly told her that this is the thing I like doing because I get to bond with the baby. She kept refusing to hand her over until I snapped and told her to give me my freaking baby now. She finally handed her over, but I was ready to punt her out.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed for almost 10 hours that day. Oh my goodness.
That's 9 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds too long.
Yes. Yes, that is true. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Now, here's the kicker. Our house is just 25 minutes from the hospital. So their commute from their home to ours is just 55 minutes, 45 on the weekend, which to some might be a lot, but it's really not for us considering that that's my commute to work several days a week. After that day, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law have come to the house multiple days a week to see baby and help around the house. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, nothing. Nothing. We practically beg and they won't come over. Just excuses, and they can't use work as an excuse because they were tired. Well, after a few weeks, my own grandparents, who are the same age as my in-laws, come for a couple of weeks to help, and they help a bunch. Cooking, cleaning, helping with the baby. I'm Hispanic, so the level of love and care I feel is different. Like, we don't expect the help, but it would be weird if my family didn't help. During the time my grandparents are here, my in-laws' dog gets sick, and they love that dog. It's their baby. So
everything is their baby.
Everything is their
Everything is their baby.
So much so that the way they raise that dog raises eyebrows, especially for my husband, because growing up, they never raised their dogs that way. That dog only goes for walks in a stroller and has never been leash walked and uses the bathroom on puppy pads in the living room, which was awful during my chemo and pregnancy. What is even the point of going on a walk with a dog if they're going to be in a stroller? What good is it? So anyway, to cheer them up, we decide to take baby and grandparents over to their house. We even go to pick up food. We decided to greatly inconvenience our lives and our newborn's life to cheer them up. Fine. Whatever. Visit goes well, but we had to bring so much stuff to make the visit work that we decided afterwards that we won't be doing that again. And my mother-in-law made some weird comments that weirded out my husband and me. Like, oh, father-in-law, we should have another baby. Want to have another baby? What? Ma'am, you're in your 70s. Calm down. Girl, she is way past menopause. She cannot have another baby, at least biologically. My goodness. But she made comments like that the whole time. Now, on to a couple weeks later, and my parents come to visit and help for 3 weeks. Amazing. My parents are incredibly helpful. They help so much with the baby in the house that I start to feel human again instead of like a sleepless zombie. Now we're over 10 weeks since baby has been home, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law have seen the baby twice. Count them. Twice. The day she came home and the day that we brought her over. My family lives an ocean away and has been more involved and helpful than my in-laws, who live 35 miles away. So I decided to text my mother-in-law and brother-in-law privately to tell them that I want to celebrate my husband's first Father's Day at our house. I'll get food and we can hang out. Brother-in-law is in residency and can't swing the visit because of work, which is fair and valid. However, my mother-in-law calls me to give me excuse after excuse of why they can't do it at our house, but tells me that we should bring the baby over to theirs. I tell her, we aren't going to do that because it takes a lot of prep work to bring baby over. Mother-in-law says that we'll have lots of help. Help where? Help who? I'm the one that has to prep and pack up baby and the car. At this point, we're going back and forth because she's not getting it. So I tell her that the baby needs me and I hang up. Husband asks what that was about and I tell him. He looks so heartbroken because his mom won't make any effort to help us or see us. She acts like we live on another continent. She tries to call my husband multiple times, but he ignores her calls because he doesn't want to hear her excuses. So Father's Day comes, and my mother-in-law calls my husband to wish him a happy one. And we find out that they drove an hour to see his grandpa's grave. So they can drive an hour to see your dad's grave, but not your granddaughter? Cool. My husband is livid. His mom says that they're telling grandpa all about the baby.
The tombstone.
What?
Yeah.
That's like
Yep.
cheating on someone and being like, but babe, I was thinking about you the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
I just imagined it was you.
it's like, well, you could have just been with me. You
Yeah.
could have just talked about the baby with the dad.
Yep.
With me.
Yep.
And been with your freaking baby.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What are we doing?
Husband says, you could actually come and see the baby. Mother-in-law says, well, give baby a hug for me and know that the hug is from all of us. Husband hangs up and vows to not go out of our way for them ever again. But I will vow to always go out of my way and everyone else. I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. We will always go out of our way to make sure that we have full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to drive an hour. We'll do all the work for you. You just tap, tap, tap.
That's right.
And we're there.
Here we are.
Beautiful. There is a little bit more to the story.
Oh
but
my.
How hot is your blood boiling right now?
It is the
The tea is ready.
it's whistling.
Yeah.
Oh!
His
Yeah.
face is red and there's smoke blowing out of his ears.
Yep. Yeah, I've just about had it with these. We have had
Dude.
back to back to back crazy mother-in-laws.
Gosh, man.
From stealing toothbrushes of their sons and using them
You.
to saying this is our baby
Gosh.
multiple times. We're done. We're done with the crazy mother-in-laws,
Yeah.
and we are going to move on from their craziness
Yes.
and have a good life. And that's really all I got. We are protecting our peace. That's all I got to
Yeah.
say. That's all I got.
It's disappointing.
Yep.
Obviously, you want them around.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if they can't understand that you have a literal newborn,
Yep.
and that makes it a little difficult
Yeah.
to bring a kid places and to travel, they can't understand that.
I'm not mad.
Sucks.
I'm just disappointed.
Yep.
Except I am mad.
Except
and I'm
I'm
furious.
actually, yeah. I can be both. Two
Yes.
things can be true at once. But we have another little bit to this story.
Let's
get
do
on
it.
into it. I'm so sad for my husband because his mom always raves about how being a mom was her calling and how much she loved it, and will tell anyone who will listen about how excited she is to be a grandma, but makes zero effort to actually be a grandma. I'm so grateful to my husband because he chooses me and baby every time and always has our back against his parents. I choose to marry you. You are my family, is what he always tells me. And growing up, he spent almost every day with his grandparents. So the way his mom acts boggles his mind. We've tossed around the idea to limit baby content to her. No pictures, no updates, in the hope that it drives her to make an effort to see the baby. But after everything, we doubt that will work. And that is the end of that disappointing story.
Yup.
Wow, man. Wow. My wife gave up on our daughter, and I don't know how to make it work again.
Don't give up on your wife.
My 27 male family is broken, and I'm trying to reassemble the pieces. I need advice. For context, my wife, 29 female, and I are in our childhood sweethearts, married now for around 5 years. I know we became parents and got married pretty young, but we've made it work. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Rad Love Fool. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my wife's a small business owner. She turned a passion into a career. I'm really happy for her. When she started, I promised her that since my work hours were flexible, I'd hold things down at home so she could focus on building her business. We were a team until we weren't. My wife's an extreme workaholic, and it's come between our family. We are not in a good place. Our daughter, 10 female, her caregiving is solely on me. The time my wife and daughter spend together is made up mostly of short replies or silence. Our daughter isn't disrespectful. She's a good kid. She's just not as comfortable with her mom. My wife and I have had a lot of talks about the state of our family. With the business well off the ground and her not needing to personally oversee everything as often, we're working on reconnecting. It's been an uphill battle. Recently, we had a bad fight. She's told me she's given up on trying with our daughter.
Your 10-year-old daughter?
What? She said she's not good at it and she's just going to stay in her lane.
Your lane is mother.
I told her that she couldn't decide to clock out on our daughter during rocky stints. She said that she's emotionally exhausted from repeatedly striking out. She feels like she can't do anything right in our daughter's eyes. She said I have it easy, that our daughter prefers me, and even made sure that her whole class knew it. The class jab was about a school assignment. Our daughter had to interview someone she admired, and she asked me. My wife was hurt. She still feels a way about it. She accused me of not understanding. She comes home to a child that she carried, not respecting her. That our daughter is an expert critic when it comes to her. She went into a huge rant. The way she talked about her rubbed me the wrong way. I told her most of the complaints weren't our daughter's creation. She asked me what I meant, and I laid it out that she hasn't gone out of her way to connect with our daughter, and she shut me down. She went into how she busts her butt for our family, and the least I could do is show up for her. All I do is show up for her, including holding down responsibilities that we are supposed to share. We aren't childless. It's no longer those me and her against the world days. I need to show up for our daughter too. She just kept saying that she has a lot on her plate and how I'm supposed to be her piece. I refuted the only piece that ever seemed to matter these days was hers. She said that our daughter and I are two of a kind and began sarcastically apologizing for her sacrifices. And if the business is what's driving us apart, then she'll renounce it. She'll make do. I asked if we could skip her martyr routine and actually talk, but the fight only escalated. I called the fight a complete waste of time, but she interpreted that as me calling her a waste of time. It was the worst fight we had in a while. Our daughter was at her grandparents', so she didn't hear anything. Yeah, that's good. We're at an impasse. Things are still tense. I don't know how to clear the air or how to reach her about our daughter. She can't dismiss her like some disgruntled customer at work. In a lot of ways, I feel like a single parent. I don't believe she's being honest with herself about our issues. She's a distant figure who has a habit of talking at our daughter instead of to her. There are a lot of broken promises, nothing ever mended. She doesn't try engaging. Our daughter loves anime, but my wife doesn't hold back on overly criticizing it in front of her.
Goodness.
Our daughter got into K-pop, but to my wife, it's just some bothersome noise around the house or in the car. Our daughter has stage fright, yet she joined a school play because she knows her mom loves theater. Oh, my wife promised her that she would come, and she didn't. That literally, my heart just sank reading that.
My parents, I think maybe my mom or dad missed like one play each.
Yeah.
And that was because of like extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Otherwise, have never missed any of my shows.
Me too.
I can't like.
That's
what
cool.
is he doing?
That's really nice, guys.
There was like
I'm so happy for you guys.
Was there a show that you were in, Keon?
Yeah. My mom never came to my baseball games.
Oh.
That sucked.
Okay.
I won it.
Wow.
Oh.
And the lady's like, we're going to take a picture of the yearbook. And they're like, where are your parents? And I'm like, they didn't
Dude,
come.
stop.
That hurts me so much.
I'm just like looking at this mom and she's like, well, my kid doesn't even like me. It's like, you're not there.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious to me that she's not putting in effort as a parent just by the fact that her immediate reaction is, I'm hands off now. Well, I'm not going to put an effort.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you probably weren't putting effort in before if that's your immediate reaction.
Exactly. So the worst part was seeing our daughter realize that she wasn't there. My wife never apologized. She gave her work was busy, I promise next time speech. She offered to bring our daughter with her on Take Your Kids Work Day. I thought it would be good for them and a chance for our daughter to see more of what her mom does. But our daughter called me upset and wanted me to pick her up. She said her mom had immediately left her with a subordinate and went AWOL. When my wife checked in on her, they fought. She told our daughter that a bratty attitude won't be tolerated in her workplace. She and I had it out later. She apologized to our daughter and blamed blowing up on work frustration. She offered to bring her back another day, but our daughter refused. My wife always felt that she was bad at articulating her feelings. She feels that she comes off aggressive. That's partly why she leaves our daughter's caretaking to me. But this fight has me questioning the nature of our relationship. I don't doubt that she loves our daughter. I saw it firsthand during the pregnancy. And in our private conversations, she couldn't stop gushing about her. I felt her love in the little things. I don't know, something changed over time. My wife isn't close with her parents. She usually has me talk with them on her behalf. She has a mindset that parents and kids don't have to be close.
Oh.
She believes that since she turned out fine, so will our daughter.
And so that makes sense.
That
She
makes
didn't
sense.
have that type of relationship with her parents, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, it's totally normal for your mom to not come to your shows and to not come to any of your events. So I don't have to come to my kids.
I'm failing to help their relationship and our own. We barely have quality time. Intimacy is shot. When we're out together, we aren't really together because in public, she's hyper aware and has her business persona on. I don't know what else to do. I'm at a loss. I'm not trying to bash my wife. I just want everyone to be okay. I'm in a fight for my family right now. How do I mend my wife's and daughter's relationship while also repairing my marriage? And there are some comments, but I want to hear your comments, Sophia.
Well, I think you have that conversation with your wife, your daughter not being there. Maybe see if you can get her into like therapy with you.
Yeah.
Do some
I was
marriage
thinking that too.
counseling.
Marriage counseling.
Because you guys are not on the same page on how you want to raise your daughter.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here. Which, like, preferably you would have talked about that before you had a kid. Seems like you had a kid pretty young.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why you aren't exactly on the same page. So get on the same page.
Yeah.
Because you need to tell her, hey, if you want our daughter to have a relationship with you, to like you in the way that she likes me, you have to put in effort. And
Yeah,
I know
there's
you're
something you
putting in
can do.
effort for the family.
And I would hope that like they can put in a lot of effort for the marriage, because then like if they just separate, the dad is obviously going to have like more custody
He'll just
over
be
the daughter.
Solo parent, which is already what he is.
So it'll just make their relationship even worse. So hopefully they really can work together and maybe just do family things together. I mean, I don't know how much of that they're doing, but like it doesn't have to be one-on-one with the mom.
Absolutely.
But there are some comments. No words, just dogs says kids can tell when their parents don't like them. This is on your wife. She can step up and get help or not, but either way, you might want to find someone to talk to your kid about how she feels about her mom. Wikipedia 212 says, one of my very first memories was coming down the stairs and hearing my parents arguing. My mother was screaming and I opened the door worried just as she shouted, I never wanted her. I never loved her. Ouch. They both looked at me and my mother said real quickly, oh, but I love you now. Don't worry.
Oh.
Yikes, man.
Oh.
Dude, that's rough. I was OP's daughter's age when my mother came to me and said, I'm going to leave your father. I need to be selfish and think about me for a change. So she took my brother and left us. She was going to tell me that they were both off on holiday and dad would have had to tell me when they were gone what was really happening, but he made her tell me. And we haven't had a relationship since. Dad passed away in 2015 and she tried, but I don't know you, lady. My parent is passed away. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy side story from one of these commenters. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, commenter.
OP, this is your daughter's future if you don't get everyone therapy stat. Jana Banana 67 says, first comment, your wife did not turn out okay.
Great point.
She
literally
honestly
is, bringing, it's like a generational trauma. Her
Right.
parents didn't, come to any of her stuff or have a relationship with her, so
Right.
she's doing the same with her kid.
Yeah, she is so far from okay, it isn't funny. Second, you cannot fix the relationship between your wife and child. Your wife has chosen to disengage from parenting, and I am sure your daughter feels like her mother doesn't care or even like her. It may take years to repair that relationship, but it will have to be your wife that puts in the hard work and makes the family a priority. I agree with the other comments that you all need family and couples counseling. This is a very fractured, dysfunctional family. You cannot fix this alone. So you have one more comment before an update. Crippled Cryptid says, your first point is what immediately stuck out to me too. The wife claims that she and her parents aren't close, yet she's fine, so therefore the daughter will be too. However, her main complaint is that she's not close with her daughter, how she has a problem with that. So she's either being dense or just isn't being honest with herself when she claims that she genuinely sees no issue with her parents' relationship, but has issues with the same dynamic with her daughter. That's a really good point, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put it together in that exact way. But yeah, that makes sense. She's definitely not happy with how their relationship is. No,
she's expressing desire for it, but she doesn't know how to achieve it.
Exactly. And we do have an update. So 16 days later.
Ooh, okay.
Thank you to everyone who reached out. It helped a great deal. My 27 male original post was pretty much the first time I talked about any of this. I wanted to give an update. My wife, 29 female, and I had a serious discussion about everything. It took us a while to get there because things were still tense after our last fight and our mini spats in between. Our daughter noticed the rift between her mom and me. She asked me about it, and I'm not proud of that. I never wanted her involved in our fights. It was a larger wake-up call. I shouldn't have to let it drag out. My wife asked if we could talk, and we both apologized for the fight. She was worried that I was calling it quits after how bad our last fight was. She took us not recovering as quickly as usual in my distance as me being done. She wanted to make a gesture for our marriage. I told her that her harsh action towards our daughter had made me question our relationship. She said that she felt bad for intensely ranting about our daughter. She was overwhelmed and used the situation as the old one-to-wing bag. She loves our daughter, but is at a loss as a parent. I told her that we'd all keep being at a loss in our current state. We're disconnected as a couple and a family. I feel like a single parent and alone in our marriage. Our current way isn't working. Her lack of presence is the common root cause. I didn't feel like our daughter or I actually mattered and were more put up with by her. That statement really bothered her. She denied it and promised our family does matter to her. She said that she knows things aren't good right now, but she wants our family. She gets frustrated and says stuff that she doesn't mean, but it doesn't equate to how she actually feels. I told her that it's not just her words, it's her actions. Her harshness and how she chooses everything over our family every single time while expecting us to just have smiles on our faces. We're not props, and I can't enforce a relationship between her and our daughter. She said that she has trouble with contentment and it's an endless chase. She has this need to keep chasing after an inner feeling that she's always felt that she missed. We talked about the feeling before. It's a high and feeling whole. Interesting. She said that she thought our relationship was the answer. She thought our daughter was the answer. And then she thought her business would completely fill that void. She said she doesn't know how to be with our daughter. When our daughter was a baby, everything was easier. That our daughter would get excited when she came home from work. And no matter what she did or didn't do, she had our daughter's love. But she's older now and barely seems to like being in the same room as her and clings to me. I asked if she's considered that maybe our daughter's hurting from her criticism and broken promises. My wife feels that she's doing better than her parents. Well,
She might be.
yeah, but if the bar is really
It's- yeah,
low,
It's really low.
it
It's
can
like you can't
still
just
be low, but above that bar.
Yeah, it's like I think, I know parents who have been like, well, I didn't hit the kids, but I worked all the time. And it's like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly. It's like, well,
Okay, at least they
Still
don't
bad,
fear
though.
you.
right,
Right. But this isn't,
This is like really deep.
Is
Oh,
this hitting
it's
home?
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
man.
it's fine.
Oh, man.
Look at me. I'm cute.
Oh, I'm gonna give you a treat. I'm gonna buy
like
you a
treat.
treat.
She said all our daughter knows is the grandpa and grandma who adore her over FaceTime. She doesn't know what they were like. Her childhood was staying in a child's place, doing what was expected of you, representing the family, and attitudes weren't tolerated. There wasn't a problem that they couldn't solve with the belt. My wife said that she doesn't believe in the belt as discipline, but she doesn't know how to be with our daughter and fears that she's aggressive when she's communicating, so she leaves our daughter to me.
Dude, I nailed that one.
Yeah, you really did. She doesn't feel she's good as a mother to an older child or with expressing personal feeling. She said I knew what her parents were like. She's right. My in-laws ran an unforgiving household. My wife was pretty much a latchkey kid.
Okay, it's basically like they come home, or they like leave and they come home whenever they got their own key and they they take care of themselves at home, and so the parents are gone and they just
Yeah.
kind of like the keys in the latch, or
Ah,
basically they're at home alone is the
Yeah.
latchkey kid.
I see.
Yeah.
My father-in-law was always working, and my mother-in-law was busy with her community engagements. Feelings were compared to complaining, and there were certain expectations of my wife. I was 17, and my wife was 19 when we had our daughter. Of course, the criticisms weren't ideal, but my in-laws made you feel their disapproval. There wasn't support to be found from them. They told my wife that if she was grown enough to make a baby, then she was grown enough to take on the responsibilities on her own. My in-laws have mellowed out a lot now, but my wife is no contact with them. She used her business to pay off their house, and that was that. I'm the buffer between them. I'm accustomed to being my wife's protector. That was always our dynamic, especially during the pregnancy when everyone had commentary, were comedians, or when guys would talk about her. Looking back, I think that's part of why I made excuses for her actions with our daughter. I told my wife that I'm in love with her, but our daughter can't be at the expense of our relationship. We're at a crossroads. Something needed to change. Counseling isn't an option anymore. It's happening for our daughter and me. I want for us to come through this as a family. If she refuses counseling, I'd respect her decision, but her answer would give me my answer on what I needed to do for the best of our daughter. We'd have to separate for the time being. My wife said if it's between counseling or losing our family, then she chooses counseling. She wants to keep working on her marriage and reconnecting as a family. We're not props. I asked if this was really what she wanted. If we do this, it can't be her showing up in word only, but looking for any reason to skip out. She said what we built means something to her, and losing that has become more real to her now. I talked with our daughter about her feelings on counseling too. I didn't just want to randomly throw an appointment on her. She was pretty open to the idea. I think it's because she's close with my parents, and she knows that they do counseling. My wife and I are officially in counseling now. Okay, well, look at that.
Great news.
That's great. We're trying a conjoint therapy approach for right now. It's a new experience for us. Prior to this, my wife was never big on counseling, but she has been showing up. She hasn't flaked. And by the way, you can show up to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and listen to more full episodes of stories just like this one. Just search OK Story Time. Don't skip out on it, okay? Don't
do it.
You gotta be there. And there is a little bit more to the story, but I think this is going a really positive way.
Absolutely. Again, it seems like they were not on the same page about parenting because they were so
They're
young.
so young. They probably didn't even have a conversation.
No,
first.
everyone you know, this is kind of what I've always thought of, you know, when I get into the relationship and I'm ready to have a kid, of like have that conversation before you get married, before you
Yes.
are even close to having kids. How do you want to raise your kid? You know, like if you are religious or not religious, like have all of those questions answered before the kid is even there.
Yeah.
Because these are all important things and you want to make sure that you're on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've definitely got a lot of insight on the wife, and she just has personal things that she's dealing with for sure.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she kind of has a good understanding, at least to start with, on what she needs to work on.
Yes.
So I think that's great. Like, it sounded like
start.
what she was saying was really good things to be aware about and amazing things to bring into therapy.
Yeah.
So
No, I
I
think
have
she's
really
doing
high hopes for her. I don't think we need to just, like, you know.
No.
Stop.
I think if she was wholly unreceptive,
Sure.
but
She's not. Yeah. There's a little bit more to the story. So there has been some improvement with my wife and daughter. My wife has pulled back on criticism and asking our daughter questions. Recently, we went to an amusement park as a family, and they had a good time together on some rides. My wife asked to pair with our daughter on a few games, too. It was the first time in a long time I saw them share a laugh. Aw. I don't know what the future holds, but I want to be hopeful for my family. Maybe it's not too late. I want the best for everyone involved. Our daughter will be starting middle school soon, and I told my wife that she'll need both of us. I'm hoping this road isn't the end of my family. I want us to have to come through this together. When I chose a life with her, it wasn't because we were having a baby, so let's stick together. It was because I love her and want to be with her. I want to make this work. But that is the end of that story. I think that's a great start.
I think you guys are on a perfect path.
See, family things together.
Yeah.
You're laughing together,
No
joking around.
No one knows how to parent. Literally, no one
Yeah.
knows how to do it. You think you do. So I've heard. You
Right.
think you do. You go into it, and then you realize you have no idea what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you can only learn as you go.
Yeah. And then people say that once you think you figured it out with one kid, you have another one.
you have
And
a
it's
totally
completely different.
little person.
Yeah.
My boyfriend received a love letter from his childhood friend. It disturbed me.
Was it the kind of love letter with pictures?
Ooh. My boyfriend and I are in our mid-20s, and we've been together for almost 4 years. He recently received an extremely long and emotional love letter from his childhood friend who he considered his best friend, a girl he was very close with in middle school. From
Not a girl.
From 6th to 8th grade.
Ew!
They remained in contact for a few years, even after school, but eventually drifted apart and hadn't spoken in about 5 to 6 years. By the way, this comes from user Silly Sleuth, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, last year, she briefly reached out to him after seeing one of his gym selfies on his story. So he's hot. They had a short and casual conversation about life, and she mentioned being married at the time.
Oh, good for her.
Cool. She's like, yeah, I have this marriage. I don't care about it. I'd drop it for you. I had a small gut feeling that she might have really liked him or was hoping to rekindle something, especially since she viewed his story twice, but I didn't say anything because there wasn't much to go off of at the time. And he reassured me that they were just really close friends back then.
Twice. OP. Stop doing detective work. You're looking bad right now, girl.
Yeah. Out of respect for me, my boyfriend didn't keep the conversation going, which I very much admired and appreciated. Fast forward to 2 days ago, she randomly sent him an extremely long, deeply emotional message, something he didn't expect. He was very honest with me and read the whole message out loud, and it turned out to be a raw love confession where she called him her twin flame, said she loved him from the bottom of her heart, and believed that they are meant to be together, and mentioned many memories that they shared, and how those were the happiest moments of her life, and how simple life was back then.
The first love theory.
She then mentioned she wanted to name her future son after him, and hoped they could reconnect and meet up and explore something romantic. Before he read the letter, my boyfriend casually mentioned he wouldn't mind staying in touch with her every now and then, and at that point, I had no issue. I respected their past, but after hearing the depth of what she wrote, I told him it would now make me uncomfortable if they stayed in contact. He told me he wanted to give her respectful closure because he didn't feel comfortable leaving her on open, which I agreed with and had no problem with. He wanted to update her on his life, including that he's in a relationship with me. I suggested that I would like him to give her the closure or whatever he needed to say, and then closed that chapter. Not because I don't trust him, but because I felt her message crossed a boundary and she made her intentions very clear. After sending the letter, she also found his work number, which he uses strictly for business and as an emergency contact for his family and I. She texted him there. At first, he responded thinking it was a new client for a job. I thought the message was a little odd since they didn't introduce themselves, but he brushed it off as his clients tend to be old, so they sometimes forget to do that. So he proceeded to introduce himself professionally with his company name, as usual. But then she replied saying it was her and made a flirty joke like, "You're hired." Ooh. And then, out of nowhere, sent him her home address.
Nice.
Shoot that shot.
She's shooting it. It's just that
She's putting it in a cannon.
she's already got a target, though. That's the problem. She's got a target somewhere else that she's already shot the shot for.
Yeah.
And she's still shooting for one shot. You get one target per life. Okay?
What?
You get one bullseye you stick with. You can't be shooting bullseyes everywhere. The bullseye is getting married.
You only get one. I don't know. I think life is so complicated. Maybe you have multiple soulmates. There's billions of us, Riley.
Wow.
There's billions of us. He brushed it off as a joke because of the context, but I told him that regardless, it made me very uncomfortable. I wasn't accusing him of anything. I just didn't want another woman's address sitting in his phone, especially one who clearly still has strong feelings and sent it after confessing her love to him. I asked him to please delete her address because it didn't sit right with me, and that's when he got defensive. He asked if I was jealous or if I didn't trust him, and kept repeating how he hasn't done anything wrong and how unbelievable it was that I'd even feel this way when he was being honest and open with me from the start. I tried to explain that it had nothing to do with trust, and I trust him with my life, but that this situation made me deeply uncomfortable, and I didn't like the thought of her address being stored in his phone, especially in his work texts, and that kind of energy lingering around. You almost had me there, but now I still think you are...
Seems a touch insecure.
It makes sense. I wish that you would have just been like, I'm just standing on business as like, I don't like this woman who obviously is into you. Has nothing to do with you. I don't like her. So I don't want her address in your phone because I don't like her.
Okay.
That's it.
I like that explanation a lot. I agree with that.
I tried to explain I'm a very spiritual person. I move through life based on energy, and I didn't want that kind of energy or invitation lingering in our relationship. I even reminded him that when we got serious, I chose to remove all of the close guy friends from my phone, not because he ever asked me to, but because I wanted to. Sounds like you did that yourself.
Yeah. Also, I don't like that because if they weren't a threat, there's no reason to remove them from your phone.
Yeah,
If they were a
agreed.
threat, then good.
You're allowed to have boys who are your friends, who aren't your boyfriend. Out of love and respect for him, I no longer wanted any male energy in my life that didn't serve my relationship or my future. The only men in my phone now are him and my family and relatives. I also wasn't demanding anything. I tried to explain that I just wanted to be understood, but he kept saying he didn't understand what I was trying to say and what point I was trying to make or why I was bringing it up when he felt he had done nothing wrong. He said I was doing too much, insinuated as jealousy, and making it seem like I didn't trust him and that I was making him anxious to the point where he no longer wanted to talk about it. He told me he had no idea she felt that way or that she would go as far as slipping her address to his work number, which I completely understand. I tried to reassure him that I wasn't upset with him at all and that I'm actually very thankful he's been so open and included me in everything, but I also needed him to understand that I'm still allowed to feel deeply hurt and disturbed by the letter and that what I was feeling was valid. Still, he seemed confused by my reaction. He didn't think I had a reason to feel the way I did and felt I shouldn't be hurt at all, especially since he was being honest and transparent with me. I kind of agree with that. Why are you so hurt that just another woman has feelings for your husband? Why does that deeply, deeply hurt you? Because he's your husband and he clearly has zero interest in this other person. So why are you so hurt by this? I am genuinely, I don't understand. It eventually turned into a huge argument that took a completely different turn. It wasn't even about the girl anymore. It became about how he was responding to me. His tone shifted, and instead of being understanding, He got emotionally distant and said things like, I was trying to be a good effing person by wanting to respond respectively, but F this, now I'll just block her. I never even mentioned blocking her. I never asked for that. All I wanted was confirmation that he would send her closure, be respectful, and then close the chapter with her fully and move on. And most of all, I wanted my pain and what I was feeling in that moment to be acknowledged. The letter made me cry, not because I doubted him ever, but because it was heartbreaking to read another woman romanticizing such a deep, sacred connection with the man I love. That's not normal. I don't think. Is that normal? It shouldn't be like a, oh my God, my soul is being sliced. It should be like a, oh, who does she think she is? What? Look at this. Like,
if I gave Angie the love letters I got during high school and stuff, she'd probably feel hurt.
Really?
Yeah, someone confessing their love for me.
But it's like, that's even a further step removed. That's like a letter from 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
I wouldn't want to read a letter someone wrote to her. That would hurt.
I don't know. I read Carly's ex's letters. Like, they already broke up.
That's what I'm saying.
And I read them and I laughed. I was.
Now, if this was Brad Pitt sending a love letter,
I'd be like, you got to put that
I'd
somewhere.
be like, all right, we got to talk. Whatever. Like, it's nah.
I mean,
And I honestly, I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for seeing the boyfriend's perspective of being like, God, I'm
Wait.
so done. I'm just blocking.
Milu-
I'll block her.
Milu says, I read a girl saying that to my ex. It was soul cutting.
yeah, but it depends. It's like overall, that's really bad. Like,
Yeah, it's not fun.
Like you're built different. We're all built different.
Yeah.
We
you're
are all
tougher.
built. That's why I'm not being like, I'm genuinely curious. I'm not being like, what? That's wrong. I'm just being like, do we? Because I think I would, it would be funny to me. I'd be like, oh, okay. Okay. She's going to take my husband. Okay.
There's no competition. You're good, OP.
Yeah. The things she wrote, like wanting to name her son after him, genuinely disturbed me. I didn't appreciate that at all, and I felt like he downplayed it by saying it wasn't a big deal. It didn't bother him, and another girl in his past had done or said the same thing, and that he didn't care. He said he just wanted to tell her he's happy now, has a good job where he's the boss, and is in a loving relationship with me, which I was completely fine with. But none of that changed the fact that I still felt deeply hurt and emotional. Not at him, but at the whole situation, especially at the idea of someone else believing they're meant to be with the person I see as my soulmate. So I'm asking, was I wrong to feel the way I felt? I feel like that's the wrong question. Because, of course, however you felt is the way you felt.
Yeah.
It's not really a right or wrong. It's just about how you go about sort of digesting it and
Yeah.
then, like, explaining it to your partner. Like,
Emotions come in waves. It's how you ride them.
there you go. Perfect. Exactly.
Wow.
I'm not looking to control anyone. And I truly appreciate that he was honest, but I can't shake how deeply uncomfortable it made me feel. Not out of fear or jealousy, but because of how sacred I see my relationship with him. By the way, you can have a relationship with us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search the name of our show, OK Storytime,
Okay, story time.
and you can listen to it all.
Yep, like a musical, but with no music or
With
rhythm.
no music because it's not allowed.
Not on podcast platforms, not YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, well, so we do have a little bit more story. Comment number 1. You're overreacting. Your feelings are valid. Your actions could have been better. She's obviously super out of line and has some serious issues going on. The twin flame thing is a dog whistle for some weird crap. She's in a relationship. He's in a relationship. The entire letter and contacting him on his work line was incredibly inappropriate. Full stop. It sounded like you guys ultimately wanted the same thing. He said he wanted to respond respectfully. You said you wanted the same thing. But at some point, he felt so pushed that he felt like what you actually wanted was to have her be blocked. There is some missing reasons here. How wound up and upset were you over this? He didn't do anything to invite this. You were allowed to be upset, but ultimately, he was the one that had the greatest level of violation. She low-key stalked him, and I think if the genders were reversed, we would be calling it that. Honestly, you should be supporting him and centering his feelings, not yours. Once you guys had dealt with the issue in the moment and decided what to do later, you could have talked. Later, you could have asked him to hold space for your feelings. You could have called and talked to your friends and gotten support for your very legitimate feelings and not made him feel like he had to deal with this violation as well as your hurt feelings about it. Frankly, there's some codependency vibes here. You deleting your male friends was a weird choice unless you were only friends with them to potentially date them in the future. You shouldn't lose your identity when you enter into a relationship, and friends are a part of that.
Agreed.
I'm really liking this comment. I didn't think I would at the beginning, but I like it. Overall, it really seems like you were making this about you when it isn't. You got disrespected, but he had a childhood friend violate his trust. This was not the time to make a big deal about how sacred your relationship is. You should have just been there for him and dealt with your feelings later. A reply to this says she did low-key stalk him, so why would he want to keep in touch with her? He doesn't. He was going to cut her off. And naming her unborn kid after him after finding his work number, how is OP overreacting to that? Reply. OP is freaking out rather than supporting him, basically blaming him for his friend's craziness. Dang, and then it ends. I thought we'd at least have another comment.
No, that feels about right. Now, I saw a comment earlier that we're like getting down on this girl because of her energy. I am not. I see where she's coming out with this energy. That's her way of thinking and processing things. As that person's partner, you got to respect that. There are some of us that have had bad issues with energies that have explained their train of thought, which makes sense where their train of thought is coming from.
Yeah.
I just think she's worded this a little differently and is putting her anger and jealousy in the wrong direction. And I feel like she's very close to putting it in the right direction. And a little bit of writing stuff down on a piece of paper could fix it. That's my whole conclusion.
It came down to just like less, you were in a high concept area. You were in high concept territory. You need to bring it low concept and say, I'm standing on business. Boom. That's all you needed to say.
Yeah.
I banned my mother-in-law because she's turning me into my husband's enemy.
Oh no, not pitting them against each other.
Hi, I'm a 35-year-old woman, and I've been with my husband, 32, since college. We met in 2019, and he quickly became my best friend. He was caring, attentive, funny, supportive, honestly, just a great person overall. Of course, neither of us is perfect, but he had so many qualities I admired and still do. By the way, this comes from /no-mill, brackets, no_mill, bracket. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Yeah, and this is directly from the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Perfect.
So we'll obviously read them. Send them in.
We started as close friends and eventually became friends with benefit. I wasn't ready for a relationship back then. I was scared. Interestingly, now my mother-in-law was one of the few people who knew about our situation, and she was always welcoming. She would invite us to visit her often, even though she lived nearly 2 hours away. I would usually drive since my husband didn't have a car at the time. I loved spending time with her. She was sweet, helpful, and we bonded like I never thought possible. She helped me prepare for interviews, we had long girl talks, and I honestly thought she was the best mother-in-law I could have asked for. I've always loved my own mom, but we're not very close. And being the youngest of 3 girls with 2 golden sisters, I often felt alone. So, having a maternal figure like her felt incredibly special. I even told my then best friend, now husband, how thankful I was for her presence in my life. A few weeks later, while we were at her house, he took me out to dinner and officially asked me to be his girlfriend.
Oh.
I was happy and excited to share the news with her. But when we returned and told her, something changed in her.
Oh no.
Oh no. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but over time, her demeanor toward me became distant, cold, and passive-aggressive. We began visiting less frequently, not because we didn't want to, but because we had school and were busy. Still, we made the effort to go at least once a month. But each visit became more uncomfortable. One time, while chatting in the pool, I told her that my husband had always felt somewhat distant from her, like an outsider, and had once shared that he believed she only married his father because she got pregnant. She calmly told me that his grandmother had told him that, and it wasn't true. I thought we were having a sincere moment. It was a moment. Sincerely, it was a moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Shortly after, my husband wanted to accompany me to visit my grandmother. When his mom found out, she got upset and accused him of taking time off school for me, but never for her. Then came the holidays. We had agreed to spend Thanksgiving together, then separate for Christmas Eve. I would visit his family on the 25th and spend New Year's together. But as Thanksgiving approached, she came to our apartment crying.
No.
She said her brother was coming to visit and that family comes first, implying I wasn't family. That hurt more than I can explain. That's understandable.
Yeah.
That's hard to have been in this and feel like you understand what a relationship is and then find out, it's not quite what I thought.
Especially since, I mean, this started out with OP being like, I thought she was a great maternal figure and I felt so accepted into the family.
Yeah. She told us she didn't want us to get engaged or married. Oh, at least not until she met my entire family and waited another 5 years. She didn't want to be a grandmother anytime soon either.
Wow.
She said we hadn't talked about family health issues, which we had. She insulted me directly and indirectly, making it seem like I wasn't even in the room. Oh, that's crazy to come to somebody else's house and be like, by the way, you're not getting married for 5 years.
Literally. It's like, okay, I get that, like, parent has a certain idea or, like, what they might want for a relationship for their kids. Never up to them.
Unless you are the one getting on your knee with that 14-carat ring or whatever.
With the 24K golden labubu.
You're not you're not deciding what the timeline is.
No, and that was so many requirements.
Yeah. And also, you're doing this where you're waiting 5 years. Also, I don't want any grandkids right now until we talk about potential, until we punt it, square it out.
Yeah. I need to meet your entire family.
Yeah, true.
My goodness.
Yeah. Eventually, I broke and told my husband she won't stop until she gets what she wants. Just go with her for Thanksgiving. And like flipping a switch, the tears were gone. She turned to him and asked, anything else? I, still hoping for some healing, brought up the comment he once made about her marrying his dad out of obligation.
Oh boy.
My husband, scared to confront her and eager to please, denied ever saying it. Later, she blew up. She claimed I insulted her by calling her easy and judged her for getting pregnant before marriage, something I never said nor believe. I would never judge anyone for that. Not her, not my own siblings, not myself. It hurt that she twisted my words and intentions. That night, I told my husband I was done. I couldn't believe he stood by while she insulted me. I called my mom crying. She told me, you don't let anyone make you feel small. He needs to make a choice. I went outside, talked to my mom, and once I felt better, and I told him I was leaving. I couldn't stay with someone who wouldn't protect me. He broke down crying and begged me to stay. He said he'd cut his mom off if he had to, that he didn't want to lose me. I agreed to stay, but only if he started therapy. We continued our relationship. But on his mother's birthday, she was rude again, making faces at me. That's crazy. And that was the last time I saw her over 2 years ago. But anyways, since then, he proposed and we got married.
Okay.
So like the faces happened, 2 years passed, proposals happened. When he told her about the engagement, as his therapist recommended, all right, there's a therapist involved.
Okay.
I warned him she might act out. Sure enough, she pretended to have a health emergency and was taken by ambulance to the hospital. As we expected, she was completely fine.
Oh my gosh. That's what I would call an overreaction. Yeah.
Good. Oh man. We didn't tell her about our legal marriage. Over these 2 years, I've learned so much about her behavior. His stepfather stole from him, gave him gifts and took them back, and his mother regularly insulted him on the phone. He forgave her. I couldn't. She has a long history of emotional manipulation, and no one ever holds her accountable. Everyone just apologizes to her. Even early on, both my husband and his stepfather told me I should apologize. Thankfully, with my therapist's help, I refused. She also weaponized his brother with special needs by preventing him from seeing me. Eventually, I messaged her and said I didn't want her in our life until she sought therapy and found her own healing, even spiritual. Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, it's a lot to deal with someone who's faking going to the hospital.
And also, how expensive is an ambulance?
Yeah, right?
That's crazy.
That's what I'm thinking.
There are better ways to, like, I'm not advocating for this.
$5,000?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm not advocating
Yeah.
for the faking something to distract,
Of
but I'm
course.
just saying there are easier and cheaper ways to do it.
Right.
You know?
If you're going to do it, at least be smart about it. Go on, Mom.
You don't need an ambulance or like do your little like fainting at home.
Yeah.
And then when people get there
Yeah.
and they're like, we should call an ambulance, you're like, actually,
Yeah, like,
I'm
oh,
fine.
feeling better now.
I'm feeling so much better.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, she, her husband, and her son came to visit our city. We moved 5 hours away and they weren't welcome in our home. They stayed at a hotel. He had dinner with them and told me I was invited 5 minutes before. I didn't go. Fair. Don't. This weekend, it was his brother's birthday. Again, I wasn't invited, nor did I want to be. But when he came back, he was clearly emotionally manipulated. He said he asked his mom to apologize if she wanted a relationship with us. And her response was, she can come tell me what I need to apologize for. That was infuriating. Understandable. That's not remorse. That's avoidance. She knows exactly what she did. I shouldn't have to list every insult, every moment she tried to humiliate or isolate me. A sincere apology doesn't come with conditions. What upset me even more was how my husband presented it. Like his mom really wanted to fix things and like I was the one refusing. He didn't say those exact words, but that's how it felt, as if I was the barrier. We've been talking about having children and I had to be honest with him. I told him I don't want his mother anywhere near me. I'm not even sure I want kids with him. Every time she comes back into his life, he regresses. All the progress he made in therapy gone in an instant. And if we ever did have children, she would not be allowed near them. Woo!
Yeah, wow.
That's why they gave us the kind of chill story right before this. That's why we were like on the
Right.
last one, we were like, actually, that wasn't too bad.
Give us a little bit of a break.
That was great.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of figured it out and
Right.
dealt with their feelings healthy. This is
Yeah.
great. Let's go to the next one.
Right. The calm before the
Okay.
storm.
Yeah, fair. I'm glad that she's being honest and standing up
Yeah.
for herself. This
Yeah.
is a rough situation.
Yeah.
That's not the ideal situation. I don't want to feel this way, but I will not let someone like her, who refuses accountability, uses emotional blackmail, and manipulates everyone around her, anywhere near our future children. He says he agrees, but then days like this come, and it's back to mommy dearest. If she truly wanted to make things right, she had every chance, including when she came here, but she didn't. And now, I'm the one who feels like the bad guy for holding the line. But I won't bend, not for her, not anymore.
Dang, man. Yeah, that's hard because obviously he's in this like manipulative relationship from his parents, right? Like that's very hard to break out of. And even though he is in therapy and she's seeing him regress, it's like I feel like you still have to be sympathetic, but at a certain point it's like if nothing is really happening and really staying there and staying in practice, it's like it's at a certain point you kind of do have to detach yourself if you are getting the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So it's
I
a
don't-
difficult balance.
There's a lot of stuff going on. You know, ups and downs. There's some messy bits to this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, yeah, it sucks to have to deal with that. And this one didn't say, am I the a-hole? I would say,
Yeah.
I would say not the a-hole. I would say this is a weird,
Yeah.
you gotta, holding the line is a good phrase, I think, of
Yeah.
just you have to keep that boundary there, because otherwise.
Right.
Okay, update from the comment. I'm evaluating my future. Slay. We will start couples therapy, and I will decide after that.
Okay.
Okay. Comment 1. You will spend the rest of your life trying to fix and repair this family and never succeed. It's time to cut the strings and eliminate the hurt and nonsense. Comment 2. I'm wondering if he's still in contact with her is because of his younger brother. Many times siblings or family members will become their legal guardians when parents pass or become too ill to care for them. I also would not trust her with any child, much less a special needs child. People that behave like this are seriously scary on what they won't do to get their way. If your husband does go no contact, she will, without a doubt, in my opinion, go full throttle on the crazy. He needs to make a choice before you decide to make it for him. I would definitely invest in security cameras if he does pull his head out. Oh God, there's OP. Yes, my husband is still in contact with his mother, but only because of his younger brother, and part of him hopes things can get better. His brother is a kind and respectful young man who just turned 18, and he has nothing to do with the conflict between us and their mother. Unfortunately, she still has a lot of control over him, and my husband doesn't want to abandon him, which I completely understand. When we first went no contact, she didn't respect that boundary. She kept sending manipulative messages, texts, videos, and articles about why sons stopped talking to their mothers, all suggesting I was the reason.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! It was emotionally exhausting and clearly meant to guilt him back into contact. That sucks. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's also biased journalism.
Right.
You know, I assume she wasn't sending other articles that weren't saying
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
because of your son's
It's just
partner.
all confirmation bias going on.
Before a wedding celebration, she even tried to send him a handwritten letter through a friend, hoping it would reach him right before the ceremony.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, his friend refused and told her not to create drama. Shout out to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the hero of this story.
honestly.
Wow.
My goodness.
She ended up texting it instead, and of course, it was full of guilt and manipulation. Dude, not being at the wedding, like, looking at the altar.
Right.
I think you're making a huge mistake.
Right. After
I know
trying
you
to-
probably won't see this until after the vows have already been exchanged, but
Yeah, I know you're literally in the middle of a wedding and don't even have your phone on you right now. Or imagine he did and he's just feeling like a buzz from his pocket.
reading, trying to like, and I,
It's like, oh,
looking out into
like,
the-
yeah.
Because of his brother, I'm not sure that going completely non-contact is even realistic right now. She seems to know that and uses it to stay connected. Honestly, sometimes it feels like real peace won't come until she's no longer around. I don't say that out of spite, just from exhaustion and experience. And yes, we already have cameras and home security, not because of her, but we just want to feel safe in our own space.
Yeah.
Woof.